Is long-term storytelling still something that Marvel, the House of Ideas, does? That is a question that is on my mind a lot lately because between the cancellations that we have seen, way more books have been canceled recently than I even realized. Um, between that, between reading some of these books and kind of feeling like they are hollow at times, without a long-term direction, not only for individual characters, but what feels like Marvel as a whole from a storytelling standpoint. The question is, are they even thinking that far in advance when it comes to crafting and planning the stories that we read? As a weekly reader of Marvel Comics, I'm not so sure if it feels like that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We've got a full house to have this conversation. We've got Kale.
What's up? Hot dogs. Oh,
Uh,
I apologize. Guys, I'm sick. It's my birthday. I'm sick. I can't even put out the carrying call. Hot dogs. Please,
I
the
thought
hot dogs.
I thought it was just really enthusiastic.
I try I I I am so enthusiastic about hot dogs. I just can't get it out there.
Marco's here.
Celsius.
How
You've
dare
got
you?
Tyler.
I was going to do the same thing, Marco. I hate how Marco's been stealing my bits and probably doing them better. So that's just the nature
Stealing
of
them
things.
before you do them?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's it's so funny that in this year of our Lord 2025, episode 455, 8 years later, Marco got a sense of humor.
That software update finally came through.
Right.
Yeah.
Finally. Comedy.exe.
I'm Sean. Thank you guys for being here, whether you are live or in the future. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. I see you guys in the chat. What's up to Hayden's Hideout? Entertain me. You better hang around, entertain me. We've got your origin coming up today. Kenneth Williams, what's up? Patrick Zay asking how to become a YouTube channel member. Hit that join button, brother. Anybody who wants to become a channel member, hit the join button. What is up? James Abel throwing the hot dog in the chat. Good to see you, James Abel. Always a pleasure. Luna's here with us. Skeleton Nagi says, "Hey, yo, pals, long time watcher. Hyped to see you guys live at long last. Also, happy birthday, Kale." Yes, happy birthday, Kale. Kale celebrates his birthday alongside the birthday of America.
That's right. That's right.
Captain
You can
America.
feel if you feel weird about celebrating America right now, don't worry. You can celebrate me instead.
Kale, did you know you also share a birthday with the birth of the Caesar salad?
I learned that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, the Caesar salad is primo
Top tier.
salad. Yeah.
Top tier.
The king of all salads.
The king of all salads.
Oh my goodness.
Yo, Goku's
Uh
here.
That's
Goku.
crazy.
What's
First
up, Goku?
time.
Whoa.
I see you're not with your kid again.
Wow, we got royalty in the house. Goku. Dude, what's your power level at right now?
That sounds really
Super
personal, Sean. I don't think we should be saying that on the podcast.
there.
Yeah.
Shub Patel is here. Welcome, Shub. Samuel Summers, my man, is here. What's going on? Good to see everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. We actually have an announcement to make, and I am going to turn things over to Kale, who currently on the screen has Marco's
It's
name.
Marco. Yeah, I was just about to message Tyler.
Um,
There we go. Don't want you getting your handsome men mixed up.
Oh.
I'm going to turn things over to Kale right now, who has something to say to everybody.
Hello, pals. It has been a long 8 years. 8 years we've been doing this show, and I have been a lot of places while we've done it. I've stayed up a lot of nights, and I have sort of gotten to a point where I don't think I can do it anymore. So I am going to. This is my last episode. Sorry, I had to. That wasn't an emotional breath. That was a I'm sick and I can't breathe in a nice way breath.
Your walking pneumonia breath, jeez.
Yeah. um, this has been a while coming. I work retail, and I took a break over Christmas to do that. And coming back, when did I come back? In February. It's been difficult to sort of juggle everything that I have to be juggling. Between we do a lot of recording behind the scenes, and there's a lot of preparation and things that we have to do to make this show happen. And with my job and with my family, I just don't think that I can keep up anymore. There's a big financial component to that. I've made no bones about how much my student loan payments are. I can't afford to keep going at the moment. Adam Smith, don't worry, I will remain part of the community. Like it or not, I am a cornerstone of this place, and that means you are also a cornerstone of me. And it would be a massive hole in my life if I weren't able to interact with all of you about comic books. I'll still be in the Discord. I might take a little break, and I'll definitely be muting the spoiler channels since I don't have to keep up. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I want to thank the audience. Thank you guys so much. If you're a Patreon member, you'll get a newsletter of my bad looking comics. Catherine's here. You'll get a bad looking comic book comic pages explaining more and far more eloquently than I have now. But I needed to get that out there so that you all could know.
It's weird because that you saying that to the audience is what really makes it real to me, even.
To me too, actually.
Yeah, lying about being sick so you can be choked up in a different way.
Right, that's what it is.
I get it. Typical white man in his 30s afraid about his emotions. Come on.
Putting it into art. Yeah.
Suffering for it.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I want to say good riddance. No. It's we'll miss you. I don't know how else to say that without just saying that. Feel free to be in the chat for the episodes that you can sort of be aware for. I don't know what your schedule is going to be like, but at least you don't have to read X-Men.
Silver linings. It's been a pleasure to serve with you.
I still expect Marco to randomly show up at your house again.
I was gonna say,
without even less warning now.
I'm like, you just get the text. It's like, hey, I'm outside. Like you're in the middle of your shift.
Marco will have
Believe
been
that,
like
yeah.
messaging our chat and forgot that you're not
That's
looking
right.
at it anymore.
I'll email you all of our comics.
I'm gonna save my words on this subject for later in the show. Um, Needless to say, it's weird for a million reasons. But what I want to make sure we get to do is, this being Kale's last show, I want to make sure we close it out and do it the way we do it. As much as we're going to talk about this, Kale leaving, what that means for the channel and things like that, we have a job to do today, and we're going to do that. We're going to talk to you guys about long form storytelling at Marvel and everything else we have planned. I will make a statement about Kale a little bit later on. It's weird, but we must carry on. So, Kale, one last time, let's do it, huh?
Let's do it.
All right.
I feel like you were setting me up for something there, and I did not
No,
catch it.
that's all I wanted.
Okay, great.
That's all I wanted. Super
Thank
Job
you.
says,
Oh, please.
Go ahead.
I was gonna just thank everyone in the chat. I'll let you guys read the the super chats because that feels like it would be weird. But thank you guys for all of your comments. I will miss you. My biggest tragedy is I couldn't do the backflip.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get that out.
That may be one of the reasons why you have to leave. It's your body is just
Genuinely,
breaking down
genuinely,
from it.
I genuinely hurt my neck when I did it.
He was
You
taking
guys-
classes.
I genuinely was.
You're the Kurt Angle of the Comics Pals now.
And I couldn't do it. I really was hoping, like with each time we hit 1,000, I was hoping to have like a backflip video. I just couldn't get it done. I failed you in that way, and I am deeply
Cool.
sorry.
Sean will take over the burden. It's good.
Of the backflip, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go with a fuck no. I didn't make that bet. Electrics with the 50 SEK. Oh, dude, Kale, have a comic, and it's been great with you and this panel. We'll keep seeing you on Discord, though, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right.
Hayden's hideout with the $10. Thank you, Hayden. While I'm sad to see you go, Kale, you've got to do what you've got to do. I'm still a newer member of the community. You have given me so much entertainment over the past few months. Thank you, Kale.
Very happy to do it.
J Sage joining the channel membership. Thank you so much, Jay. Lot of kind words in the chat for you, Kale. Pete Collins says, Kale, may the road ahead of you be lined with endless hot dogs. You will be
dream.
missed.
That feels like a really squishy road.
Yeah.
Plump.
I think most of us would end up very plump walking on a road of endless hot dogs.
Oof, I'm gonna house a whole bunch tonight. I can't wait.
Oh, dude, I did yesterday. Ooh,
I think the hot dog culture has been appropriated and across the board. I think hot dogs have now replaced like the American flag in some ways in terms of a corporate celebration of the 4th of July, and I don't like it. But this is a different soapbox that we don't need to get to.
I haven't had a hot dog in 20 years.
Oh,
At least.
bro,
What?
I've had more hot dogs since I've started saying "What's up, hot dog" than I probably have in my life.
Can I ask
They're
why?
on brand.
Just love hot dogs, man.
A while ago, I realized how much I like hot dogs to the point where I was like, I know this will contribute to my death in some way, and I'm okay with it.
Yep.
The acceptance.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but there's someone in the chat named James Abel, and he has affectionately been referred to over on Near Mint Condition as the internet, because he is like, if you said, for example, oh, my YouTube channel, we did this, right? If you were to say that, he would pull up a video of
Yep.
that within moments of you saying that. He is the internet. And so just now on our Discord, James Abel posted up he made a clip of Kale's announcement
Wild.
already.
Well, I mean, look at his
Holy
icon.
shit.
He's the man in the chair from Kim Possible. Like, this is what I expect. Yeah.
And I asked, what does it take to get James Abel on your channel? And he has appeared. He's here with us. And I love it. It's perfect. Thank you, James.
Gotta say, what's the sitch? And then he shows up.
Catherine Stars with the $20. My heart hurts, but I love and support you so much, dear hot dog. You couldn't deliver a backflip, but perhaps a live read of that fan fiction if you didn't. I'll make sure to send so many memes your way. We will all miss you.
Stay tuned if you can.
Yes.
And also,
Love you, Catherine.
Catherine, if your heart hurts, it could be from the hot dogs.
Could be from the hot dogs.
A lot of nitrates.
Go to a doctor.
Yeah.
Big indigestion.
How many fucking hot dogs do you have to eat to have your heart hurt?
Bro, I
Hey,
went
listen.
into double digits once.
At my
Stop.
age, 2.
I don't know which one is funnier, what Tyler said or what Kale said.
Both of them involve twos.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my brother and cousins and I, when we were kids, we would just house them. Every time we go to our grandma's house on the weekends, man, I think I hit double digits once in one sitting.
But Tyler, the little pigs in a blanket, they don't count. You gotta have
Oh,
like the
I
big,
am having
full hot dog,
bun length dogs.
full bun
Me.
limb dog, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Tyler, all due respect, Marco, look at that fella.
These lips are made for sucking down chili dogs.
Down dogs.
Slurping down dogs. Use some
Taking them.
some DSL, some dog sucking lips.
Wow. Tyler, the Glizzy Goblin.
Number
Whoever it
15. Burger King foot lettuce.
Matt Fisher with $4.99 says, "What's up, heels? What I don't get is why we have to wait 10 months for an 8-month One World Under Doom storyline." Matt Fisher, listen, bro. At this moment in time, the absolute last thing I want to talk about is One World Under Doom. I'm not gonna lie to you, brother.
Matt Fisher with a much more important super chat. I once ate 133 jumbo oysters in one sitting.
Jesus.
That is, yo, we got a real slurper over here. Jeez,
That's mercury poisoning.
this dude's slamming clam like crazy.
Oh man. Thank you, Matt Fisher. Appreciate you, dude. All right. Let's get into it. Let's talk. We have a big show today to get through. Kale's last may end up being his best. We don't know. Some of us, though, say that Marvel isn't giving us their best these days. And one of the biggest things that people complain about when it comes to Marvel is the cancellations of comics. Now, I wanted to kick this conversation off with a quote from Marvel's president, Dan Buckley, because it is very important to understand the trajectory as far as how Marvel handles cancellations. Marvel cancels books more often than DC does. I don't think that there's a debate when it comes to that. I think DC gives books more rope. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is individual, but I believe what I'm saying with that is accurate. And Dan talked about this last year because this has been a talking point as it relates to Marvel for some time. And so when he was interviewed by ICV2, which was a groundbreaking interview, we talked about it at length when it came out. He said the following: "We've heard from retailers that the shortening up of series with more and more one-shots, more and more miniseries, and fewer longer ongoing series makes it harder to maintain the habit of collecting. Marvel is definitely in that role. I think the days of having a 500 issue run is probably a reach, but we are looking at having less limited series and more ongoing with all of our characters. I'm not going to say there won't be limited series, but I am at the moment approving some series for 10 issues at a time, not 4 or 5. Hopefully, I can get to 15 or 20. That is the intent. Because to be honest, it's a lot of work on our editorial staff. Two, to have to restart books all the time. There's a lot of work on our marketing staff to remarket a book coming out. It's to the benefit of everyone to figure this out.
Ah, yes, the ongoing comic, 10 issues.
Yeah. The marketed comic, surprisingly.
Yeah, he mentioned the marketing department, and I wasn't aware Marvel had one of those.
It's one dude frantically with a wrinkly button-down shirt trying to cross all his T's and dot his I's.
He's trying to jump on every single like TikTok trend, doing the dances. It's not working.
We gotta have Spider-Man dab. Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked a lot about Dan's comments. So I really just wanted to include them to establish that Marvel is clearly aware of this. At the tippy top level, they know that this is a thing. Now, that was a year ago. Here is the reality a year later. And these are not announcements that Marvel has made. Marvel does not typically tell us when a book is canceled. I would say they're actually rather cagey about that. But these are the books that don't have solicitation going forward, which is the only real indication, other than it simply no longer appearing on the stands, that the book is canceled. Iron Man, X Factor, X-Force, Psylocke, West Coast Avengers, New Champions, and I should say, all of those are number 10. New Champions is issue number 8. Werewolf by Night, number 10. Spider-Boy at number 20. Spectacular Spider-Men at number 15. Deadpool at number 15, which is being followed up on by Deadpools and Wolverines, if you count that. Weapon X-Men canceled at number 5, and Daredevil also canceled at number 25. That is all the books that were canceled with no relaunch on the horizon. Now, these books were canceled but are being relaunched. Amazing Spider-Man, obviously not canceled because of poor sales. Just to relaunch it. Thor, probably just to relaunch it. Mortal Thor, there's probably storytelling reasons behind that. Venom, from Venom to all new Venom, and Scarlet Witch, which is canceled and relaunched all the time.
For the X books, that makes sense. We just had the Vigil, just had a collective death experience.
Wish we'd have one for the whole line.
Yeah. So, making that be the end makes sense. I think it's telling that a lot of the series just get the 10 or less, and kind of left up in the air in terms of what they want to do with these characters moving forward. I've been thinking about Marvel in terms of like clumps of characters. The X-Men's going to be its own thing. But stuff like the Avengers and associated books, that Iron Man book, unless people really enjoyed it, that first issue was rough. I think last time we had read it. So I think there's a level of quality correction that they need to be doing, in order to even want to push some of these characters into, like, assuming they come back, right? Like in some iteration down the road.
It's weird because like the ones you're mentioning are like the most issues we had was 20, right?
Yeah, 25.
25, and that was
No, I'm sorry, it's 20.
20 for
Spider-Boy.
Spider-Boy, right? That's the one that
Yeah.
jumped out to me. Okay. Yeah, and that one also felt like a flash in the pan, like let's strike with iron's hot sort of situation there. I don't know. Like I'm cool with limited and miniseries in comics. I actually tend to like them. because it's like, oh, I have a clear beginning, middle, and end. And then that could be a cool trade that I can recommend. But the fact that there's books in here like Iron Man, there's books in here like Daredevil, there's books in here like Deadpool, is weird. We just released just a standard video about Captain Marvel. She doesn't even have a book right now. It's weird stuff like that that throws me off on the line, where it's like, where are those? Like those should be ongoings. Like you can't tell me you can't sell a Deadpool book. You can't tell me you can't sell a Daredevil book when the show just, you finished earlier this year to huge praise. It just feels like, like, what are you doing? You know? And it kind of dilutes the line for me because it feels like these are all just steps. These mini series and these limited series and these 15-issue ongoings are just little like, oh, here, you want your treat? Here, have your treat. Have your Daredevil. Go have yourself a Daredevil. Will it really matter? Who cares? Just have it. And it's kind of a bummer.
Well, it shows like a weakness in the way they rely on sales. It feels like they are relying on that number one bump by pumping it out. Over the past 15 years. Like it yeah, aren't you guys gonna miss this? It shows frankly how sort of poorly they're doing in terms of maybe not sales, but like their projected idea of what they should be doing. It feels crazy that they keep having to do this, and we've all caught on.
But that's the lesson that they've learned, right? Is that you relaunch the number one, you get maybe a new wave of people coming on, and so
I say we've all caught on. We're still buying them. It's
Right.
still working.
But look at like the
Exactly.
downsides to this too. Like Sean mentioned Scarlet Witch. Moon Knight is one that jumps to my mind too. How much of a pain is that going to be to collect? Moon Knight has had 3 different named series. It's not even just like it's a Moon Knight number one. No, this one's Fist of Khonshu. This one's some other named Moon Knight : something. Is just going to be collected as Jed McKay's Moon Knight one day. But like that's just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't compute. How do you collect the Scarlet Witch run when it's been Scarlet Witch, it's been Scarlet Witch and Vision, it's been a different name as well. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Well, you make a good point, and I think to that point, Tyler, it almost like that puts in jeopardy future sales as well because the collected edition could struggle to sell if people can't navigate what they're actually supposed to buy. So that's not good from that standpoint either. And yeah, go ahead, Kale.
It's almost like the reverse of the problem they had way back when they were, they didn't think this stuff was ever going to be collected. They would just throw out originals or print it on shitty paper so it dissolved or whatever.
Right.
It's
Go ahead.
sorry, it feels like a blocker to new readers too. Like it further confuses where the beginning is. I think one of the things about comics and I feel like its conception in popular culture is that it has long runs. You're going to jump in on a Superman 1,000 whatever, an X-Men 1,000 whatever, and by having these reboots, it makes it difficult to even research. Okay, if I want to jump in on an X-Men number one, where does that happen? Does it happen in 2024? Does that happen prior to that in whenever it might be, 2020? And you keep moving further and further back. And so it just raises questions. And then to the collective point as well, that was one of the big issues with me getting into some Marvel titles is that they just have names of an arc. They don't have a volume one. I can't start that way. And that's the familiarity that I have with something like manga is I know where number 1 is and I know where number 76 is.
Matt Fisher with another 199. Just catching up to the big news today. Says, wait, what? Why is this Kale's last show? Red flags.
Well,
Wants me to break out my red flags.
yeah, you'll hear it eventually, Matt Fisher. You probably heard it by now.
Ted H. No words, but a message via emojis. Love, salute, hot dogs, with the $20. Thank you, Ted H.
I was hoping you would charades it. Charades you would emote the
Yeah.
emoji, Sean.
Heartbreak.
You guys nailed it. You guys
Did I
are the
get
ones
did
who
that last one again, Kale? Oh, there it is.
Oh, I thought each of us was going to be doing a different one. Okay, that's fine.
Cheeky Devil says, "Good day, boys. 100 blokes watching, 40 likes. Please hit that like button and support these blokes. Cheers." Thank you, Cheeky Devil. I love that.
Yeah, blokes is what the bathrooms say at Outback.
Huh.
And then I wanted to read a comment for MX Mothman with a really good comment. Hearing Jason Aaron talk about his store is a good example. It's so all over the place. Even he has a hard time remembering it all.
Is the Thor that the first brick breaking in a way in this modern Marvel and how that was segmented? At least felt like it had a narrative reason to do it.
Yes.
But I wonder if that was like, oh, it worked for his Thor, even though narratively it had a reason. We can keep doing it.
I mean, if you go back to that time frame, you're also talking about the relaunch of, I want to say, Avengers. The Mark Waid Avengers was a number one.
That was all different Avengers, yeah.
Yep. The Sam Wilson Cap stuff by Rick Remender, I believe, was also a relaunch. So right around that same time period, they started to go wild with this stuff. And you can justify all of those. I think it was a lot more justifiable back then. But the decade prior, they would have just continued on. They wouldn't have relaunched.
Well, I mean, they had to relaunch because Secret Wars ended the line. So All New, All Different was right after that. So that made sense at the time. To continue doing that is what doesn't make sense.
Well, even Brubaker's, I don't know how this lines up, but Brubaker's Cap, when we were reading it for the book club a few months back, there was like 2 starting points for his run as well.
Brubaker's Cap is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, because it goes. Yeah, I think so too. It relaunches, right? But it doesn't just go straight through.
Yeah.
Um,
Even
and
like
again,
the Hickman Fantastic Four stuff. The most complicated is that it sort of starts in Dark Reign.
Sure, yeah, it goes to FF.
Well, yeah, it goes from Fantastic Four to FF, and then FF continues, and then it goes back to Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
which is a little bizarre, but probably only affected you. Well, if you were reading floppies, maybe, but I don't know. I think now it's a lot more egregious. That's what I'll say.
Look at Super Job here. He says that Moon Knight run is really good, but the way they're publishing it made me pass on it. I was way behind on Moon Knight probably a couple months back, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get into the Moon Knight. I'm gonna read all these books and catch up. I had trouble because I started reading the wrong mini or the wrong title. Like one of them ended and I got into the wrong one because I had a whole like City of the Dead is the one I forgot about. And I was like, what? How did he back from the dead? So it was confusing for me. I found out eventually. But the fact that I had to do all this homework for a guy who has a comic book podcast, like I'm informed, and even then it was tricky for me. That's going to turn away more super jobs.
100%.
For a book that is doing very well, actually, in terms of sales, and it's like one of the few Marvel books that is constantly on League of Comic Geeks, like highest rated for the month.
Rami Darwish with the $5. Sorry to see you go, Kale. You and your sarcasm will be missed. Here's something for a hot dog. Sarcastic.
Kale, I don't even think that's sarcasm. You are 100% serious with all your takes.
Yeah, I don't understand this one.
Look at this. Uncaged. He's a newer reader. He's been reading, yeah, he's been reading comics for 3 years. He says, if you exempt action and detective comics, almost every one of the floppies I've bought in my 3 years is under issue number 25,
Wow.
which is in stark contrast to when at least Kale, Tyler, and I would have started,
For
where every
sure.
book we were reading was probably in the double that number.
Yeah.
I I started reading Amazing Spider-Man just before issue 500, maybe 496 or something.
Damn.
Was 500 Brand New Day?
No,
Um,
probably
that's
that's before Civil War.
yeah, that's the JMS era still.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you started
Me too, Kale.
earlier
Yeah.
than me.
Me too.
Damn.
It's insane. But Tom Brevoort, who is the head honcho editor over at Marvel, had some comments to make about this subject. So he's got a Substack, Man with a Hat. I love it. It's great. And I'm a big fan of Tom Brevoort's for what it's worth. I know that I railed against Editorial a little bit this past Thursday on Pals Pulse because I'm frustrated by the X-Men. But as a human, I enjoy Tom's takes a lot. And hey, he did some really great work with the Avengers from an editorial standpoint. So he knows his stuff. But he received a question from Z, and here's what Z had to say. What is the reasoning behind canceling a book before even the first trade is out? I'm not going to pretend to know the sales numbers, but as far as I'm aware, people I know who read comics without following monthlies do so via trade. Between that and how DC lets books that don't have good sales keep going if they have legs on a critical success standpoint, where does Marvel stand on the matter? Well, Tom Brevoort followed up and said, the reasoning, Z, is that it takes more than good wishes to keep our lights on. It takes income. And so, if a project isn't performing well enough to make the needed margin, then like it or not, that project has to go. Also, while I understand your way of thinking, in 99 and 44/100th instances, a title that sells poorly as single issues will also sell poorly as a collected edition. The idea that there's a massive group of trade waiters sitting out there ready to turn a publishing failure into a hit simply doesn't have any basis in reality. Once in a very rare while, there's an outlier, but it isn't a situation that can be relied upon. So a book that isn't making its nut as periodical is likely not going to better its fortunes as a collection. Now, Tom is the guy who sees all the numbers, who knows what's going on behind the scenes. He's likely had to make the call to cancel many books over his years. What do you make of his comments?
I mean,
Tommy B.
I mean,
Go.
yeah. So Blue Spaceman here says Tom B says things I don't agree with, but I like that he's direct most of the time. That's kind of how I feel about Tom Brevoort. He's at least transparent in what he says, and he's probably not wrong. This is probably the fact of the matter. I trust his numbers and what he says. The problem is, and I think BJ either tweeted about this or retweeted something about it, is that buying comics, single issues, doesn't mean shit. Because you have to buy it the right way for it to really count towards their numbers and what they consider good. Like, you can't just go to your shop and buy an issue of New Champions and expect that to help out New Champions. Because it doesn't, because it's already been paid for. It was bought by the shop. It was all pre-ordered. So even if you're buying the book, it doesn't really help out the numbers because it had to have been bought months prior by the shop. So so this number of single issues being what really determines the longevity of a book, even before a trade comes out, is determined by this crystal ball that comic shops need to have in how they pre-order their books months in advance, 3 months, I believe. And it's such, I feel like there's got to be a better way. I don't know the answer to it, but that just doesn't seem like a good way of doing that. But it seems like it's the only way we have.
It also feels like there's, and I don't know to what degree this is true. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but if if you allow in the short term a thing to run, build up its audience, build up some kind of storyline, and then be able to, from a sales perspective, surpass that margin, surpass that threshold. Like I'm sure there's instances where the first arc isn't the strongest and something that we've all come to love that is longer form storytelling above the 50 issue threshold, but over time has an upward trajectory. And I think you end up minimizing the chances of that by these constant relaunches. You don't let somebody potentially settle into a story, settle into an arc. In some cases, you got to reboot with the same creator, but I think the point stands in that because of that, the momentum of a book never gets to catch on to, yes, potentially recover from the dip.
Yeah. Uh, and it basically only guarantees that the top sellers are ever going to get those trades. So your Amazing Spider-Mans, basically.
I I agree with everything that Tom said from the standpoint that, look, business realities are what they are. Obviously, we would all love it if all comics just continued forever, except for the current X-Men books. And, you know, it'd be great, but that's not how it works. And, um, you know, books that don't sell well in singles are unlikely to sell better in trade. That is true. It is true. It's logical. The problem is that it feels like from a reader standpoint, it feels like that margin for what is successful and what is not has really shrunk. And that means that there's just not a lot of room for creative teams to cook. Sure, Immortal Hulk is a great comic. Love it, right? And its claim to fame is it outsold Batman for a period. But in the beginning, it didn't sell that great. And had Marvel had the same strategy today or then that it does today, it's possible that we never get to where Immortal Hulk outsells Batman.
And that
If
wasn't that long ago.
no,
Yeah.
it wasn't. It wasn't. If Poison Ivy is a Marvel book and not a DC book, it probably doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
Whereas because it's a DC book, it actually had the chance to catch fire. And no, it's not in the top 10 of sales, but it's a great book and enough people are buying it to keep it going every month. It's one of their bigger success stories in terms of we gave it a chance and it popped off.
And do you guys feel like that happens more often? The you give a book, a writer, a creative team a chance over a longer period of time, they find their ground.
It lets them build, like Hickman during like how many issues did Secret Warriors have, Sean?
A lot.
Like 50?
Yeah, a
A
lot.
book with no big characters in that book. The biggest character was Nick Fury and the idea of Shield in that book.
Mm.
That book wouldn't get 10 issues now. And the reason why I like that book is because Hickman had time to plan with Bendis, but it's mostly a Hickman book, to plan and build and seed things that then spanned other books that he did. They were allowed to architect books, which is what Marvel, named them at the time. They were the architects of the Marvel Universe. It was like Hickman, Bendis, Fraction, Brubaker, and I feel like that stuff is lost too creatively because of all these these relaunches and renumberings and no clear, distinct, universal end game. To put it in, if you guys, if there's listeners here that maybe have read comics more recently, the whole Thanos in the MCU, how they were building to that, they took that kind of building step, like building blocks from the comics. Like the Marvel universe was constantly building to something, a big point in the universe that all the books would then coalesce to, or most of the books would coalesce to, where that just doesn't happen anymore because of all this. And it feels like a part of the Marvel comics ecosystem is missing because of that.
Thus, the title of today's episode.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
As I was thinking when I was making the thumbnail for this and I was thinking about this, it feels like Marvel, instead of building to something, they have points they need to get to, and they pretty much almost like mercenary hire people to get to those points.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the inverse of that. Instead of building to something and then getting to that big moment, they have a big moment and they need to get someone to get there. I think of Miss Marvel becoming a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
I think of the current X-Men line. It feels like they just need them to be this so they can have X-Men books. I think of
Spider-Gwen.
that's the other one. That's the exact other one. It's like, all right, that would have been a big moment, honestly. The fact that the Spider-Gwen is now our Gwen Stacy, 616. But it's just like, no, that needs to happen just in terms of the character. Let's just do it. Let's just pull the trigger on it. It's lacking any kind of real line-wide weight.
And you only have that with that longer form storytelling. That you can only do so with that architecture work, and that I think is the advantage we've been kind of talking about on the DC side. In comparison, has been there's a starting point, there's some kind of end goal we're working towards, and through all that, all these other titles can help explore. But at some point, they're going to come back around, and that's kind of the expectation with the Ultimate Universe right now, is these things are going to explore some aspect of this world, and we're going to coalesce at some point. But it similarly, it has an expiration date on it, and that expiration date can potentially limit some form of storytelling. I was going to jump on some of these super chats. Hold on. Sean Ali, a salute to Kale and a hot dog. Shaz verse, Canadian $20. I'm getting married today. Watching while getting ready. Congrats, bud. Thanks for your time on the show, Kale. I'll definitely miss the dynamic you brought to the pals. I've become a big fan of the show in recent months. Thanks to all of you.
Hey,
Wow.
congratulations, Shaz. That's awesome, dude.
I can't believe we're your best men.
I feel underdressed. I'm wearing a Deadpool and Wolverine shirt.
I'm not wearing pants.
Hey, well,
My
maybe not
shirt's got a
underdressed.
hot dog on it.
Yeah.
I'm dressed exactly as I would be.
In uniform.
That's right.
I have kale on my nipple for this show.
Hey,
Oh,
yo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just like every other show.
Yeah, congrats, Shaz. I will not give you advice. Sorry.
Hey, save. Kale could.
That's true. Do you have any wisdom, Kale, to offer?
Yeah, I guess quickly, my best advice comes from my brother and me's Justin McElroy. He said the best advice you can that he has is to always try and give above 50%. Because together you can make 100% or you can get as far as you can. But there are going to be days when you can't or your partner can't. And to try and just make up that difference, just a little bit for each other. So if you're giving 55, they're giving 45, or if they're giving 55, you're giving 45. It's all give and take. And it's all, Uncaged says marry a doctor. That's, you know what? That beats my advice.
Marion.
Hell yeah. And just to clear up the rest of these super chats that we have pending, which we really, really appreciate everybody who's sending these in. Thank you so much. Gabbernerd with the 5 says, "We will miss you, Kale." Throws a hot dog in there. Hayden's Hideout with $5 says we still need a live reading of Catherine's fanfic before Kale goes. It wouldn't feel the same with anyone else playing Kale.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, keep listening.
Super, super job here says, just don't treat your marriage like a Marvel comic and cancel it after 5 issues.
Marco.
Hey, whoa, hey, whoa. That's what happens when you play with a distinguished competition.
Wow.
Yeah, you really did gain some humor. Good.
Holy shit. All right. So by way of comparison, here are the books that DC has canceled this year. Shazam, which was canceled at issue 21. Power Girl, which was canceled issue 20. And Metamorpho, which was unfortunately canceled at issue 6. The only book to be relaunched is Batman, which, as we know,
Yeah.
will end. The current volume will end with the Hush 2 stuff, and then Matt Fraction and George Jimenez's Batman will relaunch with a number 1. So is it, I mean, we know that DC sales aren't better than Marvel's. So why is it that this can be the case at DC but not at Marvel?
Even Metamorpho felt like the cancellation was built into it, like in a way. The final issue ends with Metamaniacs. Make sure you send letters to Editorial to have more Metamorpho in your comics. It's very much like that classic style of storytelling that Al kind of wrote it into the issue. So it doesn't even feel like a cancellation. It feels like it's part of the bit, even though it was canceled. So I don't know. Like DC's more okay too with just saying they're a limited series, like Question, like Challengers of the Unknown. You know that those books have a reason, they have a use, and they have a clear, defined end, creatively as well. And I liked those books, and I was cool with them ending. Does Marvel maybe need to do that more? Instead of just hoping everything's going to be an ongoing and hoping it'll hit. Just being more clear about like, hey, no, this one's only going to be 10 issues.
I think a big part of the problem is that they publish so many more books than DC does that I genuinely think that there are times when they're publishing things that, this is hard to say and it's a little fucked up, but I mean it. Not every book needs to be published. And sometimes you publish things that really don't have that there's not a market for. Like Weapon X-Men, I didn't read it, so this is not a commentary on the quality of the book nor the creators. But why does that exist right now? At a time when we're very much in the From the Ashes era, and that is the focus, why are you doing that comic? There's nothing about it that screams, we need this now.
Even the Deadpools and Wolverines book. Like, why are you making a tie-in comic to a film that came out 2 years ago? And it may not be, but what's the sales expectation of that gonna be now?
It's just like, oh, they're popular, just throw them together. And granted, there's a Spider-Man and Wolverine book, which is really, well, I don't actually think that book is really good, but there's a Deadpool and Wolverine book that I do think is really good. And so we're already getting that. And now you're going to do one that there's already a Deadpool Wolverine book. You're going to do a Deadpool's and Wolverines book. It's just,
that does not roll off the tongue.
no.
Has it felt? I just flipped open or pulled out Superman number 27. Right, like, that means that this has relaunched. Action Comics, it's going to be its own thing. That's going to be the main title. I feel like DC slowly is getting to a point where it's starting to take some of those, what we're maybe calling like a not a great lesson, because we do have low number issues for some core titles. We are going to be getting relaunch of of Batman, obviously because the longer form version's not necessarily continuing anytime soon. So it has felt like they're dipping their toe in a little bit more. I think they haven't fully committed because they do have the longevity of a lot of their core titles just being strong or strong enough to be carried through into the next iteration, into the next wave. But it's starting to feel like that kind of thing is creeping up, especially because they are also announcing a lot of these things as miniseries.
I think that DC is better at resetting when the time is right. So in the case of Batman, they're going to reset when Fraction comes on. That's a new volume that makes sense, a new status quo or whatever. But they still go by the legacy numbering. I that I don't take that as they're learning the wrong lesson. Maybe they're doing it better.
Well, I mean, Spider-Man did it. I don't think anyone's really complained. Like, it made sense then, too.
I think that makes sense. It's the exact same situation.
But it's also Spider-Man, and it's also Batman. Like, I have faith in those books continuing. Those are going to be things where at least there's some form of longevity for that storyline and that creative team to cook.
Longevity, but the idea would be longevity in the sense of we're reading the new Kelly Laraz stuff at issue 150 something, not necessarily issue 4.
I think that's kind of over at Marvel, in the sense that I'm not saying that there aren't long runs. There will always be long runs, but the definition of what long is has shifted. Dan Buckley said, "Oh, don't expect 500 issue runs." That's hyperbolic. 500 issue straight is not that's not a thing. He should have said, "Don't expect 100 issue runs," because that's what he really meant.
Even
Um,
50. Like,
well,
Al
yeah,
Ewing might
that's
have been the last person to do it.
ASM got 50 under Zeb Wells, and
Okay. Yeah.
Tom King got his for Batman, right?
I think we're talking Marvel, but yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Um,
maybe Ryan North and Fantastic Four is pretty long in the tooth.
30, I think 33,
Yeah.
34, something like that is where it wrapped
But
up.
they're few and far between.
Yes, and it's gonna typically be the usual suspects, as you guys were talking about earlier. It's gonna be the books that already do that kind of thing. I'd rather live in that world, Marco, of Amazing Spider-Man 150, whatever, or 200, whatever. We're outside of that world now. I remember, I don't have the quote right in front of me, so, take this with a grain of salt, I suppose, but my memory's decent. I remember Tom Brevoort saying that he felt like DC was leaving money on the table by not relaunching Batman when Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee came on board.
I bet.
And he's right. It's annoying. I don't like it. But from a business standpoint, he is right.
People are trained to buy the new number one. Either narratively, it's a new jumping on point. Let me jump in here. Or a collector, the collector brain is trained to buy those. That's why they did legacy numbering, so they can keep doing that and have their cake and eat it too.
Yes, exactly. Because we were complaining about it back then. These complaints aren't even new. That's the funny thing. They started legacy numbering because we were bitching.
Yeah, they didn't want to do legacy numbering. In fact, there were some books that were legacy title numbered and some that weren't in the same time the books were being published.
So it's not a new problem, but I think it is. I do believe that it is accelerating. And the question for me becomes what should be done? What can be done? This is my take. And I'm saying this from the perspective of I would love to see Marvel make a change. Why is it that the only thing that counts for the sale of a comic is the physically purchased book in the shop, the single issue floppy? Digital comic sales don't matter. Reading the book on, let's say, like Marvel Unlimited doesn't matter. Trade sales don't matter. I don't understand that. How could it be? Like, if you're going to tell me that, let's say, New Champions, I do not know the state of that book sales other than it's canceled. That book is aimed at a younger audience. Have they even had a chance to read this book and trade?
No, it's not.
No.
It's not a trade. I'm reading the book.
So if that book is targeted at a younger audience who may not find themselves at the shop every month, maybe they find themselves at the bookstore and they see that on the stands and they go, "Hey, I want to check that out." The same thing happened with Miss Marvel. The individual sales of Miss Marvel weren't great. The trade sales were great.
Which then
And there are other. Go ahead.
I was saying, and then leads to a delayed reaction.
Right.
It's like, oh, the trade sales are good. We got to put these characters out that haven't been in publishing for a year or two.
It's like they make their decisions so siloed and so like narrow that of course the definition of success is going to be limited, and it alienates a lot of different potential books. My perspective is, and this isn't going to happen, Marvel needs to call the line. Stop publishing books that don't have, and this will eliminate, some things that maybe could see success. But I look at their line and I go, there's no way you actually thought people were going to buy that TVA book. There's no way you thought that.
A TVA book that came out a year after the Loki show.
I see that perspective, and I'm thinking about it if they're looking for to maximize gain in the shortest amount of time, right? That means that they have to now rationalize to their stakeholders. You're going to expect to see over the course of the next 6 to 20 months a drop in sales with the potential prospect of a increase incrementally over time of your sales and retain and what is it and retainment for the books, because the new number one publication, that's a consistent constant refresh. You get people come in, you buy, it fizzles out, you buy, it fizzles out. You have to get past that fizzling to a baseline and then work on supplanting and supporting the baseline. But
That ain't gonna happen.
it's not. Well,
Yeah.
it's not because you need time to allow those books from a creative standpoint to do something interesting enough where it becomes must be reading.
And it's not going to happen because all that matters is the quarterly earnings call.
Right.
And that's all it's ever going to matter because these are owned by big companies.
Well, but to that point, and something that I think, we gloss over, and Sean mentioned it here, but I want to hammer down on it just a little, is like the digital sales, the Marvel Unlimited, clicks or downloads or whatever. Like, are you telling me they're putting these books out and they don't have a way to track how many issues they buy, are bought, are downloaded, are, like that information could be near instant, but they have to wait. We have to put in orders 3 months ahead to get numbers from a comic shop. Like, that doesn't make any damn sense.
3 months ahead of the publication of the first physical floppy, which is then another 3 months before that hits Unlimited. So we're looking at a 6-month gap between digital and the initial sales of a book, which is why these books don't last long and why digital doesn't matter in terms of their numbers, because that's too far away. That is past an earnings call. It's too big of a gap for them to justify that mattering in the grand scheme of things, because the money's already been gone for 6 months. It's not selling for 6 months.
But you could also argue the money's been gone already because that's a subscription service, right? They've already made their money from it, not at the point of the new number three dropping, but they made it 3 months ago, 7 months ago, last year, because that's when it refreshed. And what does it matter? It breaks down the number that they get back breaks down by title.
But then the justification is like that's the justification for Marvel Unlimited, not for Gwenpool, not for New Champions. If anything, it's like Marvel Unlimited now is a huge catalog of all these miniseries that we have. They just
If
become
anything,
numbers in a giant program at that point. It's not a narrative decision. It's not a creative decision.
right. If anything, it's letting them know that this title was exciting enough that it activated more readers on the app, but it's a contained environment. It's a contained ecosystem. I wonder if there's something that they're also measuring on, like the fucking the QR code. God, who uses that? Who's going to be using that and deciding to be
Sean Stack Winners is the exclusive users of those.
if they collect?
Yeah. And Kale does not even take Sean's extra codes anymore. So half their user base is
Yep.
gone.
Steve Canaris says, "Call me harsh if you want, but any other business where sales aren't increasing would get new management who try new things. Football teams get new coaches. Clean house."
That is what happens. People, organizations all the time will change leadership because the direction needs to happen. Something radical needs to happen.
But also, Marvel's the top seller. They have the largest chunk in the medium. So the numbers are saying they're doing fine.
Well, yeah.
That is the problem ultimately. Is that what we are talking about isn't what there that's not Marvel's perspective. No, the people who work at Marvel, the people who are, shareholders at Marvel, their perspective is, hey, we're doing great. That fucking Ultimate Spider-Man is a banger, and he's Storm and Uncanny are selling great. Whoopee. Our perspective is, wait, these books are not hitting, dude. And the books that are compelling and interesting end up getting canceled a lot of the time. But they're not going to learn that lesson. You want to talk about that point that Steve is making? We have seen that happen. It just didn't happen at Marvel. DC threw almost everybody out 4 years ago. In 4 or 5 years ago. And that's where we lost Dan Didio. That's where we lost a lot of their senior executives who, editors who are gone. And look, facts are facts. DC's in a way better spot than they were 5 years ago. So you could make the argument that culling their senior staff and bringing on fresh blood with different ideas helped DC grow.
And it was an immediate creative shift in the positive, which then led to even more DC books is what I'm reading right now. So that good creative leads to good, like better sales too. But in a world where Marvel is already on top, all the numbers don't lie, and they spell good things for shareholders and all that. Like there's no need to do that because they're doing fine. Their pockets are good. Creatively and fandom wise, maybe we're feeling it, but we're still buying it. We're still slurping up the slop that we have, and that's all that matters to them. I read that new Gwenpool book when it came out. I picked it up. I'm part of the problem.
And it's one that I don't think that Marvel will address because look, Dan Buckley's the president. He's the one who signs off on he's the one who greenlights books. And he said, I'm greenlighting them for 10 issues. Hopefully we can get to a point where it's 15 to 20. He's being very transparent. And you can't criticize that. You can't criticize Dan or Tom for being honest with us about the state of Marvel. And they're saying, look, I can't justify with the people that I need to justify it to, letting these books linger. 10 issues is the most rope I can give a book that isn't successful. And our metrics for success are tight. And it is what it is. I can't critique that. I cannot.
There's also, it feels like, a bit of lack of like transparency into what the sales numbers can be, and I'm sure it's also contextual by book. But it's hard to then compare and know because um, a DC is going to have a different number than a Marvel. A Marvel's going to have a different number than a Dark Horse for their purposes. But with the loss of something like one unified distribution under Diamond, where we used to be able to see all the sales all under one thing, it's hard to even tell if that's truly the business decision that they're making. If it's purely just the numbers like that, or if there's something else that's involved in that decision making from somebody higher up. And I'm not saying that in terms of like films or movie attachment, but I wonder if there's also just like, hey, to your point on culling the line, maybe there's also just too much volume, even if a book is making good sales.
I mean, Marvel's publishing strategy since the 70s has been volume based. That's just what they do.
And Tevye Smolka says, so instead of story, it's just data now? Yeah, that's every.
To them, yeah.
It's not just comics. That is everywhere. Sorry, that's 2025 for you.
It's the comics pals. Tune in Pals Pulls.
Yeah, now go buy your shitty clothes on Shein and eat your.
Hey, we don't use Shein.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm just saying that's just every, not just Marvel comics. It's not just comics.
Yeah, and it is frustrating, and I think as people who want to just enjoy the creativity, the what the creators are putting down, the stories, it's a challenge. But I look at Marvel's publishing line, and beyond any sales, just from like what I enjoy, I look at their line and I go, wow, I've never enjoyed less Marvel books than right now today. And I take no pleasure in saying that. I just said I'm dropping every X-Men book. That sucks.
Yeah, if I'm trying to visualize all the Marvel books I'm reading in my head, there's a lot of 3s out of 5s or a lot of 2.5s out of 5s. Not a lot of 4s, not a lot of 5s. Somebody needs to lie to these shareholders and just say, hey, what if we did all number ones? We'll relaunch the line that way. Be like, hey, we're going to have a month that's going to be really good for you guys. You guys want that extra yacht? Here's the time we do it. Is there a world where, okay, say this is how comics work at Marvel going forward. They call the line, like you said, Sean, right? They launch all new number ones with a core set of comics. Then, after 12 issues, a year, they do it again. And then we treat comics like seasons, where at least the creatives have a set 12 issues or whatever. And then that could be the points where there's at least, in terms of money, a pace and an expected bump when the new number ones come out. Does something like that seem more appealing?
I think it leads to consistency, more consistency, but I don't know that it becomes more or less attractive. And I think you'd probably have to do it by quarter. In this quarter, a bunch of number ones launched. Not everything.
It sounds like early New 52 at that point.
Well, because then you have to maintain shareholder expectation, because then they're going to know, ah, shit, we're getting into the second half of the year. We're down on everything, or we're down more so than we would be otherwise. So the beginning of January, a couple titles launch number one. That's that season. Spring season, fall season, winter season. It could work, but I guess I don't see a downside necessarily. It doesn't feel like it differs. It just organizes when things launch.
I mean, I think that would be I think that would be problematic in other ways. It would be very, very difficult to keep people's attention when you know for a fact you don't have long-term storytelling anymore. Marvel doesn't tell us what a miniseries is deliberately because they are aware that if you know when a book is going to end, there's a pretty good chance you might not buy it. We've seen a lot of people who have said, "Oh, I'm trade waiting that." Be like AVA, limited series. We know for a fact it's going to be 4 issues. A lot of people said, "Oh, I'm just going to trade wait that." It happens constantly.
Uh,
Uh, Steve Canaris, my LCS says Marvel sales are dwindling in favor of Absolute. Sales figures are lagging indicators. I guess. I mean, Absolute is in right now. It's hot. And again, all LCS data when it comes to individual stores is anecdotal because individual stores have very different situations. We've been in a store, for example, that doesn't even make its nut off Marvel and DC. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. So every store has their own ecosystem. But that being said, there's no doubt, in my mind at least, that Marvel's sales are better than DC's. And every time we look at sales figures, you're going to see Absolute Books in the top 10, but you're also going to see a lot of Marvel, man. A lot of Marvel in that top 10, top 20.
Man, Marvel does a lot more variants than DC.
They do variants. And just I mean, realistically, Spider-Man is hard to beat. X-Men are hard to beat.
Even when Spider-Man was getting cucked, he was still outselling. Can't bring that man down.
Do you feel like if, let's say, the publishers were on some sort of even footing, they didn't relaunch the number ones, they had a similar cadence to DC, they didn't have maybe the volume of variants, are they more comparable sales wise? Like, do you think that that makes up such a difference that it ekes them over, or it's the thing that is their bread and butter, and because of that, not only does it eke it, they already have a stable base, and that just helps like make dollars on top of things.
My understanding is outside of blips in time, there has never been a long, consistent stretch in which DC outsold Marvel in history. Like, except when DC owned Marvel, when their parent company owned Marvel. I believe that was the late 60s, early 70s. Outside of that, there has never been a consistent stretch where Marvel was outsold by DC. So, whatever reasoning you want to come up with to say it doesn't change that fact. And Marvel wasn't publishing, variants in the 70s.
Hmm.
So there's something about what they do that just people love, and they've loved it forever, and that's probably not going to change. So I really don't know what the answer is when you're talking about Marvel because they're not beatable. They're just from a sales standpoint, they're just not beatable. They have the public consciousness and they always have.
Do you think in a world where a Superman movie is coming out, right? If that does well, and then James Gunn's DCEU does well, in a world where the MCU is probably not as good right now, do you think that DC could ever supplant Marvel in the public consciousness, which then could potentially reflect in sales?
Always could. To Kale, go. You got a face.
It always it always could. I think it's a great point. Uh, but I think Marvel probably has stuff in place, you know, to prevent that from happening as best they can.
What, like a
You
sniper
know,
on James Gunn right now? Like,
yeah.
okay,
They've got Disney money.
yeah,
So at any given time, they could shadow drop a fucking, Black Widow movie. But then also, like, they have all these extra comics that they put out in order to flood the market. We mentioned the TVA book. They're putting out not even a Laura Kinney Wolverine book, but the sidekick to Laura Kinney is getting a book now, and Spider Boy, and there's a Spider Girl. Like, I think Marvel could probably just start, making it rain comic books, and that would keep them from, the bottom of the sales charts.
That question also supposes that there is a real movie effect on the books, and there really isn't. Not not beyond like a one shot pop type thing.
It's not the movie effect I'm thinking of, just in terms of like public perception of these characters. Does that? But I guess maybe that's the movie effect.
Yeah, because we're not the public, right? We are readers of comics, so we're niche nerds. If you're talking about public consciousness, that's going to be driven by movies and TV shows and things like that. Um, and I don't think that that will have an effect on the comic space unless there were new readers, because the readers that comics have made their choice, and their choice for 50 plus years has been Marvel. And to Kale's point, if there were actually something to worry about, Marvel will just go grab a top creator who hasn't worked for them in a while. They'll release a little bit of money, grab a fraction, grab a Morrison, grab whoever, and put out a book that's going to change the game. It's
Damn.
not it's not dissimilar from like to use a wrestling analogy, a WWE AEW situation. Whenever AEW was never going to overtake WWE because it's just not going to happen. But when AEW started to get hot, notice that WWE made certain changes. They started, putting on shows that were actually entertaining. They brought back guys who we actually enjoy, like The Rock and Stone Cold. They can just trot shit out.
Yeah. Marvel doesn't pay their creators very well right now because they don't have to.
Exactly.
They start dipping in the sales charts, we'll start hearing about how well they pay their creators.
That's when that Bendis out of continuity book will come out.
So
His
Mark Millar finally
newer
joined the jump again.
Avengers. Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
even think
God.
that's that far away now.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Jay Sage with the 9.99. I've always been more of a DC guy. However, Marvel scratches an itch DC can't. I think books like Storm and Moon Knight with creatives going for it, using the mythos Morella mentioned, editors let him be free. Great. I'm glad that he was given rope, and I'm glad that that book ended up a success story. I was wrong about that book. I thought it would be canceled within 12 issues, and that didn't happen. So that's great.
And now you're the baby daddy to Storm's baby. Look at that. Look how the world
Yo,
works.
don't put that out there. I ain't trying to pay no child support or anything like that, man.
Oh, I don't even know
Not
how
that
much
To the
Storm
that
needs
god,
my money.
to the goddess of the weather.
Yeah. She doesn't need my comics bucks. Although, quite frankly, I would be happy to pay to be in her presence. I'll say that much.
Kale, do you want to read that super chat?
Yeah, hell yeah. MPL Murphy with the 4.99. Thanks so much, dude. Just woke up. Shout out Kale and his giant hog. Yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks, dude.
Um, yeah, man. I don't know. This situation is frustrating. It's not dire because Marvel's going to keep on keeping on. But when you've got the same people behind the scenes doing the same things for decades, it gets to a point where, as Steve Canara said earlier, who do we blame here? Because, like, it's the same guys.
And what are we gonna do? Not buy Marvel comics?
Huh. You and what army?
This fuels our. This unfortunately fuels our podcast because then we get to have episodes like this. Like, what else am I going to complain about if the comics are good?
We'll just do episodes about how the comics are good.
Well, I guess so. Yeah.
We don't need this shit at all. The best thing for us is for comics to be good. And the best thing for us is for Marvel to step the fuck up, but they have no incentive to do that. Somebody said in the chat, I think it was Pete the Relative, said, "Oh, shouldn't you guys just stop buying the comics?" to make the point. You dude, yes, of course.
And individually, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna stop buying the comics now, so the strike happens 3 months from now.
Well, listen,
They feel the effect 3 months from now.
I already drew my line in the sand as it relates to X-Men. I'm dropping about that's about 4 books, I think, that I'm taking off my stack. And I'm not picking them up again until I know that something has changed. And I encourage people to speak with their wallets. I don't want to tell you what to buy or not buy, but I'll tell you this. If you have a complaint about the state of comics from any publisher, and yet you keep throwing money down the well, you're part of the problem. I am part of the problem. I acknowledge that, and I am making changes today. Make changes today.
Well,
That's all.
I'll keep buying these Godzilla versus something books, but everything else can pass.
Marco still needs a slop.
That's right. That's right. Get
mean-
more Rogue Savage Land.
Godzilla's still doing, they're making moves. Toho's,
What you call me?
they're making moves. That's funny.
Shout out to Gavin Gidry, who said, I picked a weird time to join the stream. Listen, dude, you never know what the fuck you're going to hear when you tune into this channel, man. If you don't like it, you don't buy it. Yes, Mike Critiques. That is exactly it. That is exactly it. Don't sit around and complain. And again, I am not criticizing you. I'm criticizing me. Don't sit around and complain if you're unwilling to make a change. And in this case, I am making a change. Nighthawk says money talks. Yep.
The Nighthawk is in here? Wow.
Oh. Money talks, and it says more number ones, please.
Yeah, exactly. It says, bring me more Spider-Men.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten like Spider Them yet as a book, as like a mini series. They're gonna cash in on all the check marks there.
For a million reasons, I am not surprised by that. Cole, I'm proud of you, Sean, for dropping X-Men. We got to vote with our wallets. Yeah, dude, it's the only way. It's the only way. Junior Star, I haven't seen you before, dude. Welcome. Marvel Comics, PS5, and WWE can be lazy because people keep on buying. That is exactly what I'm saying.
I like the idea of PS5 being its own entity. Like,
Damn PS5.
I'm imagining my PS5 in the other room, just like drinking a beer, just doing nothing, just collecting dust.
You already bought me.
It's true. I already paid for them. Yeah, and I was paying for PlayStation Online for way too long.
You cut that finally.
Did I?
No, huh?
I'm pretty sure this might be a Comixology Unlimited for me.
Bro, I just had to change my credit card.
That's sometimes
And,
the best thing that could happen.
I think it is
Yeah.
because now I think the Barnes and Noble is going to be cut off, and I think the Comixology is going to be cut off. And fuck them, because Barnes and Noble
Wow.
got way too much of my money. Those bastards. They try to raise the price again.
Watch
Get
the
outta
stores
here.
shut down now because of you, Sean. Where else are people going to buy their Funkos and board games now?
That's how they're in business. Is just getting people to sign up for these things and then not letting them off the ride. That's what these gyms do.
I went to my local Barnes and Noble the other day, and it's the one I used to work at. And the person who checked me out was one of my old coworkers who just didn't recognize me and tried selling me the membership. And I just looked at her like, "Come on now,
Fuck off.
come on."
Oh man. Oh man. Look, I want to say this. We are not an anti-Marvel podcast. Not by any means. In fact, one of the biggest downsides to losing Kale is that we are actually losing our DC Comics expert.
Foundation.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fucking text Kale and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, dude, do you know this? Because we don't know what we're talking about right now."
New show bit.
Who's Light Ray?
Phone a friend. Yeah.
Right?
I'm gonna wake up like that meme. every time you guys call during a show.
It's actually very good. I know exactly the meme you're talking about. Good job.
Yep.
This is not what Tyler or myself certainly, and I think I speak for Marco and Kale as well when I say this is not what we want to come on here and say. I would love to come on here and talk about how great Marvel is. Damn bet I wish I had a podcast back in the 2000s and 2010s when I couldn't get enough of Marvel comics.
I have a Marvel tattoo. I don't have a DC tattoo. Like, I'm a Marvel guy in my veins.
Cole says it. We're all Marvel fans. We just deserve and want better.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
And this is why we need to eliminate capitalism as a foundation for what this lived experience we're all sharing is.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I gotta sell my comics for something.
No. It doesn't matter. Who cares about how you sell them? The quality of them needs to be better, Marco. And for that, we need to get the guillotines. This is why.
Oh man. Dan Trudeau says, "Wait, did you say losing Kale? I just joined. I did. At the top of the show, Kale announced that he is this is his last episode. For those of you who missed it.
Surprise.
Yes, it is. It is a sad day. It is a sad day. But just like things can improve at Marvel, you never know what might be happening around here. Now, I think we've had a good conversation about this. The point is clear. Two things. Vote with your wallet by reading what you enjoy. And we're not shitting on Marvel. We're simply asking for Marvel to be better. That's all.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we take the pledge to stop reading X books.
I'm still the problem, Marco. I'm still the problem.
Okay. Well, we pledge to stop reading as many Ultimate line books. All right.
Well, those are good.
Well, some of them.
I'm not buying any Ultimate books that I don't like.
So
Tyler
Ultimates. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just the Ultimates?
Yes, just that specific line.
No, Sean likes Black Panther.
No, he means or I thought he meant
the title.
The title. Oh, okay. No. I meant the line. I'm not, the only one I'm not buying is Ultimate X-Men. That's it. I like Black Panther. I think it's pretty good.
Kevin Guidry says Kale's leaving just in time for me to start drawing some Golden Age Sandman.
Come on,
bro. These comics bucks aren't. These toys bucks aren't paying me enough to not buy you your Wildcat pages. You're telling me I got to try and save up to not buy your Sandman pages now? Come on.
Things are gonna be clean.
You got to save up to not buy those. Oh shit. We have a lot more show to get to. Don't leave early on Kale's last day. We're going to have some fun. There may be a read of a certain fan fiction a little later on. And if we can get to it, we really have to get to it because it's the last time we can do this with Kale. The best DC superheroes, according to Reddit. I'm really hoping we get to play that.
And that's superheroes, right?
Yes.
Not just characters. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So stick around. We've got a lot going on around these parts. Before we get into that, though, I do have to take some time, just a couple of minutes here, not even that, to give a shout out to the people who make this podcast possible. I'm talking about you guys. I'm talking about our supporters. I'm talking about our patrons, our sponsors. Marvel is not sponsoring this show, especially not after this episode. So we need you guys to make this possible. So I want to give a special shout out to our pals versus legends, the Hound of Justice, Atomic Hound, Starcross Catherine Stars, the Red Spiral, Spiral Storm, Adam and Bernie the Best Boy, the Spear of Judgment, Jace Jumble, Jalen Jackson, the Sanguine Sorcerer, and Safe Haven, Hayden's Hideout. And I want to give a thank you to Pals vs. Members, the Night Stalker, Harris Sajinski, Brian Demolish, No Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, Dan the Truth Trudeau, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dammer, Christian Uncaged, Always Laughing, The Spirit of Justice, Izzy's Issues, The Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Robert, Runback, Cashback, Pete, The Dreamweaver Collins, James, Just Jamming Jones, Paul, Powerhouse Smith, Neon Knight, The Cosmic Avenger, Matthew, The Shade Cosmo, BJ Cakes, The Living Blade, Boss Deer, Grand Alchemist, Chop Harder Alchemist, John Barrier B, and Doomsday. David Melendez Doria. If you did not hear your name, and you're supposed to, you will a little bit later, including a new origin for one Entertain Me. Can't wait for that. Woo! Speaking of the Patreon, we put up the nomination thread for Superman month. It is Superman month right now. We've got the movie coming out next week, which there will be a review for here on the channel. We will be talking about that movie at length next week, so tune in for that. But you guys nominated at a record-breaking tune. It was unbelievable. We had so many nominations. I'm really happy and proud of you guys for that. And we were able to put together a top 4 that I think is worthy of Superman. And quite frankly, there's really not even a reason to leave the poll up because you guys have decided already. But we still will for posterity. These are the final 4 options. Superman Up in the Sky, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's Superman, Last Son of Krypton, and the book winning by a landslide, Superman Birthright.
Oh.
Huh.
Who's the Birthright creative team, for clarity?
Mark Wade and...
Is that Lanil Yu?
That's what I was thinking of.
Me?
So,
Yeah, Lanil Francis Yu. Yeah.
Me?
Us with those scary eyes.
I've not read that.
Me neither. I love when there's a... to be fair, I've not read a lot of Superbad. Gavin, still haven't read All-Star. Sorry. So this could be fun.
Oh, wow. Short run, 12 issues.
I believe they just put out a compact
They did.
this. So,
Yeah, I think I'm going to
get
pick that
out.
up. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to... Great opportunity or reason to buy another compact. So, we will be reading that unless you guys make a change and head on over to patreon.com/thecomicspals and cast your vote. There's still a lot of patrons who haven't gotten to vote. So this is your warning. We will be closing the polls this week. So don't belabor it. Get your vote in. Mike Critiques said, is the Comics Pals a 3-man band for the foreseeable future? Love to see some more Comics Are Dope appearances. Well, Mike, I can definitely tell you will see BJ on this channel again soon. As far as the future of the Comics Pals, we're going to be talking a lot about that. Needless to say, we have a lot of plans. Go ahead, Tyler. You look like
We're
you want
relaunching with a new #1 in creative team.
to- Can you fucking imagine?
After that discussion.
We've had that discussion and we have fought so hard against it.
Yeah. It's just not something, oh God. But there are a lot of plans and a lot of things in place, and you're gonna see new faces and you're gonna see new things, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. I promise that.
No question.
Kale leaving the same way that Pete and Phil, which are names that the majority of you will not even recognize. When that happened, it was like, okay, either we're gonna make changes and do this big and do this great and fix stuff and be bold, or what the fuck are we doing this for? And I have that mentality again now. So for me, at least, what it means is it's time to fucking go big. you
Bigger.
know, bigger. Yeah,
Bigger, better, all new, all different.
Wow, he said
But that
better. Wow, jeez. To your buddy? Damn.
that's crazy,
That's
Marco.
I mean,
fucked up,
listen.
Marco. Jesus Christ. Kale,
I
you
mean,
should
with
visit and just like
all the bullying I've done over the years, it's finally time he struck back and told the
that's right.
truth.
finally gets us looking. Yeah.
From
Twist
the
the
last
knife.
episode, my man waited.
he said,
Jace,
he
go ahead.
said, your performance has been subpar over the years.
Jay Sage with the 199. Love you, Kale. Hope I run into you in Liverpool.
You don't say that to someone from Liverpool.
Yeah, that starts to fight, I think.
So to celebrate Superman month, not only are we doing the book club on, whatever you guys choose, we are also doing top 5 Superman characters. This could be his consistent allies or his consistent enemies. And don't say like Batman, Green Lantern, fuck that. I'm talking about core Superman characters, who make regular appearances, who are a part of his supporting cast or list of enemies. Obviously, Kale, there's no reason for you to put together, unless you did and you shocked the shit out of me, put together a top 5.
I didn't, but I bet I could.
Shit, if you want to, feel free. I was gonna give you the space to wax poetic about Superman if you wanted, but if you can put together a top 5 on the spot, I would love to hear it.
Let me write some shit down. You guys go ahead.
I can go with my 5 spot to
Please.
start it off. My number 5, and the 5 spot I kind of usually leave for something a little crazy, but it's the one that always jumps to the mind when I think of Superman characters. And full disclosure, Superman himself not on my list. Number 5 is, I always say it wrong, Mr. Mxyzptlk. Mxyzptlk is a character I'm always drawn to because of how non-Superman. It feels so Superman, but also not Superman at the same time. The idea of this imp from a 5th dimension coming to Earth just to fuck with him. And it forces Superman to use his brain and not his bronze. Sometimes his bronze. Sometimes Mxyzptlk becomes a giant, scary-looking dude. But it really lets Superman kind of almost lean into the Kal-El and the Clark of it all to deal with Mxyzptlk. And it's never that often, or Gavin's giving me that. See, no, I can't say that. That made it harder, Gavin.
Mxyzptlk. Come on.
Gazoom type.
Mix my
Not
spit.
that
What?
hard. Mxyzptlk.
Mr. Mix. I'm giving them the shortened version that he would get if he was a substitute teacher that kids couldn't pronounce his name.
Or if he was appearing in a fucking in Smallville or something. You know
Yeah.
how they always like
Yeah.
Yeah. Played by somebody too handsome.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's just a lot of fun. I remember like the first time I was ever introduced to Mxyzptlk was at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. The Superman ride, because I had never watched the animated show for Superman, so that just didn't exist to me. But when the Superman ride first came out, I was there the first season it was out, and it's a Superman roller coaster. They invert you, so it's like you're flying as Superman. Love it, great ride. But in the queue, the line up to it, there's just these, not cardboard, but there's like cutouts of his characters and little bios on them. And Mxyzptlk is one of them. And I was like, who the fuck is that dude? And being really interested in kind of going on a Wikipedia hole for this. So I have a lot of fun. And that's why my number 5 is Mr. Mxyzptlk.
Mxyzptlk.
That's what I said.
It very much isn't. I know you know it isn't.
I said that.
My number 5 is Jimmy Olsen. Lovable, oaf, fun, just kind of partner to Superman, and I think of the stuff that I've read, with him included, it's one of those situations where not damsel in distress, but he just can get into trouble, and I like that as a character trope, especially considering the origins of Superman and the superheroics of his character. So being able to follow his misadventures and then ultimately have to call on Superman to like help save the day, I think was also just really good framing for a story. Then in some situations of just Superman going out and doing a thing, it helps keep. He also helps keep Superman grounded in a lot of instances, um, and I feel like he has such a history and lore with the character that um, even the having the watch that just calls him at any time, there's a friendship there, there's a support, and that's really important to who Superman is as a character. And so for me, Jimmy feels like a cornerstone of the Clark Kent identity.
My love of Superman characters, I realize, has a lot more to do with how they look. Because I think a lot of low key, I think a lot of Superman characters look awesome, especially as villains. So I'm actually gonna kick it off with a character who I love, mostly for the visuals, but more recently for who he is, and that's Metallo.
Mm.
I've always thought Metallo looked cool as shit. I love a metal man, a cyborg guy, and he very much is that, but he's also got a very deadly piece of kryptonite in his body that makes him a great foe for Superman. More recently, though, during Philip Kennedy Johnson's time on Action Comics, he told an incredible story with Metallo that made me fall in love deeper with the character, where he essentially presented him as a victim of America's violent gun culture. And I thought that was really compelling that this kid grew up as sort of like just the product of this culture, and sort of seeing himself as the gun, because he becomes this metal monster who is a weapon, and how he can be used and played by people as a weapon. And all of that was great, but what was also cool was seeing the way that Superman still cared about him even after he defeated him. He was almost sort of like, hey man, you can be a better person than you've been, and you can be redeemed. And I think I'm not going to include Superman on my list as well, um, because I like the idea that in some way all the characters that we talk about have been touched by Superman, and I think Metallo fits that bill very much so. On top of just looking really cool.
Yeah, I think the at the heart of Superman, what people get wrong about Superman is exactly what you just said about his attitude toward Metallo. He says, he defeats him and then he comes back and he offers his hand. He says, "You can still be good." And that's what people miss about Superman. That's what makes Superman great.
Completely.
I can rattle off my top five. Um, I think my top four I think are pretty easy, but my number five I think is worth it. So number five is Bibbo Bibowski. And he is a bartender that lives in Metropolis. That is, he's Superman's biggest fan. And the thing is, I think for me, Bibbo is he represents what Superman means to Metropolis. You know, if you're in touch with Bibbo, you're in touch with the city. And I think it's one of those things that like has been missed over the years. No, I'm not gonna get into a big long explanation. Bibbo is Metropolis, and if you're in touch with Bibbo, you're in touch with Metropolis. Done. Number four, Batman. To me, the one of the best aspects of DC Comics is the friendships that are formed between the superheroes. And the one between Superman and Batman is probably the strongest there is outside of Green Lantern and the Flash. And it's because they're so opposite. Their worldviews and their ability to call each other out, I think, is some of the best accountability, in universe that DC has to offer, and I think it's top notch when it's done right and well. Number 3, obviously, Lex Luthor. What's a hero without his villain? Lex Luthor could be Superman if he weren't so busy trying to beat Superman. And it's his ego and his antics that keep him from doing real good in the world. And sorry, Lex, you're not even above number 2, Ma and Pa Kent. They are the reason that Clark Kent is the mask to Superman. They show this alien what it means to be a human, and they approach him with kindness and with tender love and care, and they raise him that way so that when he goes to the big city, he can put that out there, and they teach him that everyone deserves that. And I think, like I said about Metallo, that's the heart of Superman. And number 1, obviously, if this character isn't number 1 on all of your lists, you've done it wrong. It's Lois Lane. Lois Lane gave Gavin. Lois, gives, initially she gives someone hold on. Initially she gave Superman someone to save. But she grew so much as a character, over the decades that the line has been published, that she is a strong independent woman, don't need no man. But she is a woman that loves her Superman. They got to know each other. She knows where he comes from. She's there. She's his rock. And that's how it is. It's the best relationship in comics. And it's one where they're truly equals.
I think that's an interesting point, that they're equals. I like that a lot. And it's true, and I feel like you don't see that in a lot of the other relationships in comics, like the couples. Superman, in a way, probably, well, he probably feels like he's beneath her on some level, which, listen,
and he's right.
Not a bad place to be. But
underfoot.
She still got that Warworld costume in the closet.
What was that comic? I think it was Tom King. Tyler will know, where Lois had asked Superman to put on a particular outfit or something.
It might have been. Was it during Tom King's Batman run?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it the Double Date 2 issue?
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite issues of comics ever. The Clayman stuff. Oof.
Yeah.
He draws sexy people. Clayman is.
Oh yeah.
That's the man right there.
Yeah.
But it turns out Gavin made a typo. It was supposed to read, "If Lois isn't number 1, we riot." So, Kale, you're in the clear.
Of course, he says it after the blowback. It was a typo. Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Kale, for presenting your top five. The rest of us will give ours to you over the course of the month. Julian Thomas, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining. Says, forgive me, just stepping in. What list are we making? So, what we are doing is we are putting together our top five Superman characters. I think we've all elected to not include Superman in our top five. Marco probably will, because how many characters does he really know?
5. He needs to
But
go on that Superman ride to see all the characters.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
and Sean called it when at the top he said, "Yeah, don't include people like Batman and whoever else." Ah, shit, the rest of the DC universe.
That's the 5th character he knows.
Wonder Woman,
Oh,
no.
did Sean say that?
I did, but I have no
Yeah, what?
purview over you anymore.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Fire me?
Oh shit. So yeah, Julia, that's gonna roll out over the course of the month. So if you have a top five Superman characters that you enjoy, you can share them with us now, or you can drip them to us, drip feed to them to us, like we will be doing it to you. But we are going to keep things going because we have actually, I forgot about this. Thank goodness I have notes. A Patreon pal question that we got this week. And it came from Hayden's Hideout, who is always great about submitting thoughts and questions and things like that. I have it up, so I'll just read it. In an alternative universe where the DC Absolute Universe and Marvel Ultimate Universe 2.0 creative teams were swapped, what teams would you like to see on each title? Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman on Ultimate Spider-Man, Jonathan Hickman on Absolute Superman, Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta on Ultimates? Interesting question. So basically, what creative swaps would you make between the Absolute and Ultimate universes if you had the pen?
I have one already. Um, Definitely Dragotta and Snyder on Spider-Man. Uh, the flow of art that Dragotta could probably do with Spider-Man, having him bounce around, the sequentialness there, that'd be cool to see.
I think
Definitely, yeah.
I think too. Snyder would do really well with the drama with um Peter's kids that were missing.
Mm.
It's true.
Not that I don't know what Hickman's children's situation is, but I say that because Snyder has put forward that a lot of his uh, uh, ideas come from his kids, conversations with them or themes he thinks because of them.
Hickman's children are just data pages.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
Calculating up there.
In my head, I was like, I'm going to switch the Ultimates and Absolute Martian Manhunter writers. Wait a minute. I would like to see the Absolute Martian Manhunter team tackle Ultimate X-Men. I want to see what Dennis Camp could say about mutants, because I think there's something there that would honestly put him on a main X-Men book. I think that's where you really need him. But I would like to see that, and also art-wise, oh man, I'm blanking. It's Javier Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, yeah.
Yes, oh, that's my family name. I should know this. Yeah, that'd be great to see what the mutants look like there. But I want Peach on Batman.
Oh, interesting.
I want to see what Batman's rogues gallery looks like as yokai. That just becomes a ninja Batman. But fuck it, why not?
I like that. Sean and I both went. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do that alone from now on when I hear these things. I have an interest in seeing Al Ewing and Janoy Lindsay take on the Ultimate X-Men. I think that would be kind of cool. Scott Snyder and Dragotta on the Ultimates. And Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman on Ultimate Spider-Man. I think
Yeah, yeah.
Hayden would figure out some
Oh,
wild shit to do with the webs.
oh yeah.
That would just be ridiculous. And Kelly's Kelly. Like she'll do a great job with that cast, especially with Gwen playing. I mean, it'll be a different book, but like in my mind, Gwen playing such a major role. I think she could do a lot of really good stuff with that.
It's only a matter of time before we get Kelly Thompson's Spider-Man run. I think that'll happen. Whether it's Ultimate, who knows? But I think she's definitely got something for that character.
I would want like a Sherman and Thompson on what is it, Ultimates. I feel like of the snippets we've got, they have such variety in the world that's built so far that I can imagine the design work there taking inspiration from everything from Thor, Hulk, the Doom that Maker slash Doom issue that it can be pulled from so many places. I was thinking Hickman and guest artist Chichetto on Absolute Wonder Woman. That'd be fire.
Guest artist, you asshole.
Wow.
That'd be my pick.
Bad.
I think we've laid out some bangers, quite frankly.
Yeah,
and it's just more than anything, what it showcases is how strong all those creative teams actually are.
Mm.
Some people in here
Chad
saying some Peach on Wonder Woman. That could be interesting
That could be cool.
for sure.
Of all the possibilities between Ultimate and Absolute, Peach's Wonder Woman is the one where I would be most interested in seeing Peach land.
There could be something really interesting there with her interpretation of Greek mythology.
I would also be compelled to see what if, and now we're getting into like Elseworlds territory, but in Peach's space, where she mostly does stories that take place in Japan, what if Wonder Woman just went to Japan instead of America and made
Hell
that her
yeah.
base? Like, how different would that be?
Hell yeah. That's rad.
Get on it. Chad is dropping some thoughts as well. Cole says Chris Condon and Alessandro Capuccio on Batman. Jasper, hey, what's up, Jasper? Eddie Hickman and Chiquetto on Batman. I think someone else, Marco, said that too. I think.
Yeah. No, I said Wonder Woman.
Right. Eric Simons wants Peach on Green Lantern. That could be good.
Be cool.
It's funny because with that swap, you could have like the big white whales, like Snyder doing a Marvel book, and Hickman doing a DC book. Those are like the two big things that just we've never got fully. That I would like to see.
I imagine Peach hasn't been on a
No.
DC book.
No, she can have Marvel
But
Rivals money right now. Huh? What does she care?
Those that Tyler laid out are like I can't think of a better. Like, I can't think of two creators who people more want to see go play for the other team, so to speak. We have to acknowledge, though, the atomic bomb that our friend Atomic Hound dropped, $49.99. Thank you so much, Hound. And he says, can't let the episode go by without acknowledging the departure of our great friend from the cast of the Amazing Pals channel. Thanks so much for your insights, even the grumpy ones, and so glad you will be back with us in the Discord soon.
Thank you so much, Hound. I just simply can't help but wonder which one you mean. No, thank you so much, buddy. I thought of you first, Hound. Genuinely.
Damn you all with a 10 spot. Says bannable opinion. In today's world, the media is toothless. I feel she would be better as a podcaster who streams on the ground footage. People get their news from Hassan and Rogan nowadays. I'm assuming that's a reference to Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Took me a
reference
second.
to what we were talking about earlier.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
That reminds me of in the New 52 when Clark quit the Daily Planet to go start the Drudge Report.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even like
That's go ahead.
J. Jonah Jameson kind of did the Rogan of it all, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's not a bannable opinion. Damn, I agree with the first sentence. Today's world media is toothless. I completely agree with that. And as far as Lois being a better as a podcaster, I mean, it would certainly reflect the modern world better. But I
Yeah.
think there's something about Superman's books that like they should feel kind of classic and like slightly in certain aspects feel like they're from a bygone era. Like I don't know how Superman feels without a Daily Planet being a thing.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Dan Slott's kind of leaning into it with the Superman Unlimited, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Where like Lois is recognizing that the media is toothless and trying to fight against that, while still being it.
One evolution that I've always thought was interesting, and I don't know that much about, is I think around the time of Crisis on Infinite Earths, uh, Clark was a news anchor. He was the on TV reporter, which I've always found very interesting.
That's hilarious. Like I would like to read that because I could see him bumbling through that and like
Yeah,
that's fun.
But then something happens, and all of a sudden he like disappears for a hot second. And he's right back.
And his like tie is very slightly out of place.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gavin says, "I think Lois needs to be a journalist." And yeah,
Yeah, it's about
Gavin's a
the
romantic.
truth, not about the monetization.
Right. Yep.
And there's a world where I don't think Lois works for something like Twitch with Bezos owning it. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Thank you so much, Hayden, for the question. You inspired an interesting conversation. And all of our patrons who are in that Pals vs. Legend tier, you guys have the power to submit questions, submit topics, whatever you want. Patreon.com/the Comics Pals is the way to do that. I now have the unfortunate responsibility of discussing and introducing the subject of the passing of a comic book legend, that being none other than Jim Shooter, who has died at the age of 73. Jim Shooter was a giant in the comic book industry and had a personality and a presence about him that not a lot of people in this world have, let alone in the comic book space. He did pass from cancer. He had a long battle with cancer that unfortunately he did lose. Um, and it's awful, this cancer thing. We need to figure this shit out. It's really sad, not to make it political, but we're spending all this money in this country on horse shit that makes people's lives worse, when we should be investing it in figuring out ways to save lives from cancer and other diseases that take people, um, frankly, too young. 73 years old, you're not necessarily a spring chicken, but you should have some more years to live. We just lost Julian McMahon to cancer, who played
Yeah,
Doctor Doom and was in Charmed. I loved
yeah,
his character on Charmed, Cole. He just passed it. I think he was 56, somewhere in
he was super
there,
young
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
from cancer. That's way too young. How many people do we all have in our lives who are in that age group, who we'd be shocked to lose? And so putting that aside, Jim Shooter was a man who was destined to make comics. Destined. He started as a kid. His first published comic, he was a teenager, not even 18. I believe he was 13, 14 years old. 14 years old he
14.
was
What
when
comic
he
was it?
made it. It was a Legion of Superheroes comic, I believe.
And this is before the internet. Like, you gotta put your boots to the ground to be able to do that.
He's most notable for his time as editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics, during which there was certainly a lot of controversy. There's a lot of stuff we could say about him um, that I think other channels and other people will get into. There were allegations of, homophobia, allegations of, racism, all kinds of things. But ultimately, he is a person who had a lot to do with the growth of the comic book industry. He's the guy who had the idea to put Dazzler #1 in um, in the comic book direct market, and we know how big of a success that was and how that changed the trajectory of the history of comics. So many of his ideas and his initiatives that changed the game. I think it was I think it was Rich Johnston. I may be misappropriating this phrase, but somebody said it, and I thought it was great. And they said Jim Shooter was the person who made the comic book industry grow up. And based on what I know about the man, I consider that to be the case.
The industry as a whole grow up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. Uh, Sad to hear especially when it comes to like legends like this, the people who are such beacons of innovation, familiarity for a number of people. The Discord was definitely popping off as well. Um, just just a sad moment in history that we won't be able to get more. Not that there was as much, but the continued legacy of somebody who was as important as Jim Shooter. There's a hole there.
You're talking about a legacy that, I mean, he had such a big hand in Valiant comics, um, just all manner of things, and people are a lot of people are talking about him right now. Founder of Valiant, founder of Defiant, um, which was like, yeah, I mean, you can imagine why that existed. A brash guy, harsh at times, but somebody who understood what he wanted, the mark he wanted to leave on this industry, and he did that. Editor in chief at Marvel for 9 years, and the things that happened during those years. You're talking about the Claremont era. You're talking about the Claremont X-Men. You're talking about John Byrne, Fantastic Four. You're talking about Frank Miller. You're talking about so many things that happened during his purview that you just have to give him credit for. The same way we credit Joe Quesada with the the bounce back of Marvel in the late 90s, early 2000s, or late 90s and 2000s. You've got to credit Shooter with that 80s um, you know, evolution.
And you can only be so lucky to be the editor in chief. So
Yeah. Hats off. Um, and a lot of success in the life of Jim Shooter. Thank you for all your contributions. I want to say one thing about Jim Shooter that is very positive, and that is that in his later years, he loved going to cons, and he loved getting to meet fans. He loved getting to interact. He loved getting to see what creators were up to now and talk to creators, impart wisdom every now and then. That was something that he really took pride in. And more recently, within the last couple of months, he made an announcement, or an announcement was made that he was going to have to pull back from doing cons. And I thought at the time, not knowing that he was sick, I thought, hey, you know what? Get that old man off the road. He's done his job. He's done his time. Hopefully, that's a good sign that he can get off the road. Turns out, not so much. Rest in peace.
Thanks for everything.
uh, before you get into the next one, Sean, Cheeky Devil with the 4.99. G'day, got a dip. Kale, you're a bloody legend, mate. I'll have a hot dog if you'll have a Vegemite sandwich. Love ya.
Oh, I can't think of anything more revolting than a Vegemite sandwich.
When you lived in New Zealand, did you ever have one?
I don't. No, I don't think so actually.
Oh.
Because I think Vegemite and Marmite are very similar. I think
They're similar.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, and I know I hate Marmite. But You know what? If I get you have a hot dog, I'll take that Vegemite bullet.
All right, we're gonna keep things going. DC Comics is reviving Justice League Quarterly, but they're doing it in stealth. So Justice League Dark Tomorrow is we're going to get a special one shot that is coming out here at the end of the month. It's going to be out on the 30th of July. The solicit reads, Apocalypse is on the horizon and no one is safe. In the wake of the We Are Yesterday crossover epic, a mysterious quantum quorum has emerged, stalked by a lethal enemy that takes no prisoners. The League deputizes a ragtag group of time-displaced heroes like Batman Beyond, Gold Beetle, and Helena Wayne to fill the void left behind by the Time Masters and save the Quorum from the mysterious threat that's picking off time travelers one by one. These legends of tomorrow are the only ones standing in the way of this cascading chronal Armageddon with the past, present, and future teetering on the brink of this oversized special, leading to the next big DC All-In event. Now, Bleeding Cool surmises that this is leading into a crisis event that is coming towards the end of the year, but DC, or rather Justice League Quarterly, was a quarterly book that they put out, and it looks like we're getting that back. They're not calling it that. This is the first issue of that, and I guess we're going to see more of these going forward, according to Bleeding Cool. The Bleeding Cool article reads, beginning with the Justice League Dark Tomorrow special #1 at the out event, which is out at the end of July, which is the prelude to the October big DC All-In Crisis event to be announced at San Diego Comic-Con. What wasn't in the solicitations is that this is the first in a series of quarterly Justice League one-shots from rotating creative teams telling essential stories in the saga of DC Universe.
This is kind of what I'm into this idea. The idea that you have these quarterly Justice League special comics that contextualize the greater story that's happening in DC Universe. Marvel doesn't do this, and this is kind of what I would like Marvel to do. Marvel used to try doing similar things yearly with their Timeless or their 0 point, whatever book will come out in DC. Point ones, yeah. But I'm cool with this as a quarterly thing to kind of reestablish where things are. I think we're headed to a time crisis. Is probably what we're getting, or a chronal crisis, something like that. I think time crisis is probably taken taken by some cool guy at an arcade using both controllers at once. But I'm cool with this. I think this is I love Huntress. So I know this book got announced a while ago, but the fact that Huntress is coming back at the end of the month, I'm here for. And I think where we are yesterday left off, this is an interesting thing to do because this also ties into the Booster Gold absolute of it all. Which makes me a little afraid that he's not in the absolute universe and that he's actually in some weird middle ground. Because this whole Legion thing and the cover they have with Booster on it doesn't have any reference to the absolute universe. He might be somewhere else. I don't know. But
Some limbo space.
yeah, limbo between.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm ready for it though. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is rad. I think it's a good idea that they're continuing to address the fuller context of the DC All-In Aftermath, the event itself, and point the direction of the universe someplace that can exist outside of some of the main titles as well. Because then one of my complaints, especially as it comes to events, is like how it takes away from certain books because they have to cater to that. And if this is a one shot that is specifically dedicated to continuing the story of the universe in the background, it helps to isolate and organize where everything sits. So I'm down for this kind of thing. And it feels like this is what the function of a one shot is, almost like the function of an annual that you rarely get nowadays. and I really like that. It feels classic. It feels throwback. So I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think like it's already been said, I think it's a good check-in point to push the story along, um, but um keep the rest of the line, moving in the directions that they're going.
I think this is a phenomenal idea. I have asked for something like this almost since I started reading comics. How are you supposed to know what the ongoing story is for a massive universe like this? What book should you read? And this gives you an answer. If you're not, reading everything, but you want to be connected to the center story of DC, buy these quarterly.
Yeah, that's a great point. You don't got to tune into weekly or monthly for that matter.
Well, and even still, it gets that little bit of audience that can't keep up weekly. Well, we can keep up quarterly.
Sure.
Maybe you only read, let's say, Justice League and I don't know, one other book or something like that. This bridges that gap for you. It gives you a story that matters, a one shot that matters. It's not some fluffy bullshit they're just pushing out to make $7.99 Hellfire Vigil. Fuck that. Um, this is something with stakes. This is something with propulsion for an entire universe. There should be more books like this from the big two. So I hope people buy it. I hope it's good and I hope it succeeds because we need to see stuff like this. Absolutely.
To that point, I wonder if this is for the absolute readers who are in the door, but not keeping up with mainline right now. Like they want to be able to get a taste, the flavor of that. Hey, what's going on in this huge ecosystem? I'm only just coming in on the back of Absolute Green Lantern or Absolute Flash, and I need to be informed. At this price point, hell yeah, dude, easy. 48 pages, 5.99.
Sounds good. Sign me up. I will be seated for this one for sure. Um, you know, people always complain. How many times have we heard this? Oh, comics need to get back to the newsstands. I miss the days when I was a little boy and I used to go to the fucking newsstand and grab a comic for 20 cents, right? Well, Marvel is trying to bring those days back for one book. The Fantastic Four have returned to the newsstand. Marvel is publishing the Marvel Comics Fantastic Four magazine, bookazine, I guess, which will have 3 different comics in it. Those comics will be Fantastic Four number 60 from 2002, which is written by Mark Waid and drawn by Mike Wieringo. That's
Ooh,
awesome.
okay.
Fantastic Four 570, which is the first issue of Solve Everything by Jonathan Hickman with art by Dale Eaglesham. And Fantastic Four number 1 from 2022. That's going to be the Ryan North Iban Coelho run. So they curated 3 slices of Fantastic Four to give you a taste of sort of what they're about. Notably, no Stan Lee, no Jack Kirby, no John Byrne, but I think they kept it modern-ish, which is fine. But the other thing that they're doing here is they're giving you $30 worth of free Fantastic Four comics digitally.
Oh, so that's like 2 issues.
Yeah.
But they're giving you the ability to read a whole bunch of stuff um, on Marvel Unlimited
Huh.
in addition to these stories. And these are going to be available at Amazon, magazine stands, local retailers. So just all over the place. Maybe even a Walmart, a Target type thing. These are going to be available where you get your magazines.
Interesting marketing tactic. I mean, they're using they're using comics dollars for pushing the movie, which I think is typically it's been the other way around, if anything, and this seems smart. Like you're hyping up the movie, you're building that excitement for people who are already in it, but also people who wouldn't otherwise. You're hitting a lot of new eyeballs. So I think for that, this makes sense. I don't know that this is, this obviously isn't going to be a sales driver. This is purely for that awareness, get it out there. And the idea of $30 worth of digital comics, maybe it is an incentive to people. I don't know that people waiting in line at your CVS, pick this up and suddenly become dedicated readers. But to get it out there, at the very least, it's a good attempt. They're doing something. I'll grant them that.
You think this is to hype up the movie?
I think so.
I think it's the inverse. I think it's hey, you saw the movie, you like these guys. Here's more. I don't think this is to help out the individual comic books or the direct market at all. Obviously, it's not in the direct market, but it is using physical to drive people to their digital platform, which I think is smart. And I mean, even by the covers, you could tell it's going to be on that like super shitty paper. Like I'm looking at the digital image of the cover,
Yeah,
but it's a little
yeah.
blown out in terms of the coloring, where it's like, all right, this is going to use cheap ink. This is going to be like this is something I'm going to see at my dentist a year from now. Just on the side table. I'm cool with this. I think this should happen more. You said it's available on Amazon, Sean?
According to the solicit, yes.
Interesting. I don't know how I'm gonna see that. Like what is there a cash wrap for when you're doing your groceries online? Like I don't know. I don't know. I'll keep an eye out for it. My local supermarkets and stuff.
Same.
But this seems harmless. This can only be good. It can't be bad. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is fine. Cool.
It's worth pointing out that this is $15.
Never mind. All right, back out.
But for all three stories.
Yeah, for the magazine itself. Yeah.
Okay.
So 3 individual issues is still probably less. Like if you're talking about when these books came out, would still not be $15.
True.
Probably true.
And if you get $30 worth of free credit, really you're getting $15 worth of free credit.
Which is what, a month of Marvel Unlimited? So couldn't there's just been of hey, free Marvel Unlimited month? It now it feels like a weird promotion.
I like this a lot. So one of the biggest reasons why it's hard to get comics on newsstands or whatever anymore is because of their price point. Oddly, they're too cheap. This fits better from that standpoint. The Fantastic Four have some buzz right now, so people may say, "Oh, wow, hey, that's cool. There's a Fantastic Four magazine." Do I think that this is going to do gangbusters? No, I don't. I don't think that there's any comic related thing you could put in a newsstand that's going to do gangbusters. But this will hit people. There will be people who see this and go, you know what? That's pretty cool. I want to read a Fantastic Four comic. I've never done that. And then maybe they take the digital plunge and who knows? I don't think there's a downside to this.
And the $15 is not like I won't buy it for 15, but it like probably what it's next to on the shelf there are like those like Time Special Edition magazines, which are around $20. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. I just don't see a lot of people being able to say, hey, $15 on this little thing. I assume it's based on the form factor, probably one of the smaller ones too, like digest sized, like a TV guide.
Yeah, and not your Nat Geo.
Not a Nat Geo, more of a TV guide, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, this would have been cool as like they had done this as like a newspaper thing, kind of announcing something via a newspaper. You get a code to then get the links for this on your your New York Times, your Wall Street Journal, your whatever publication. That'd be a cool way to blast out stuff, because I still stand that this is for the movie more than it is for the comics. even if it, regardless of what the this says, this is probably a bigger raiser of awareness for that.
You think somebody's going to see this at their CVS and think, I should see that movie?
I think more so than I should go visit a comic shop and or download Marvel Unlimited.
I don't know. I think people will see this and say, uh, "Oh, comics! I saw their movie."
I think it's the same reason why, you would see like a Incredible Hulk Twinkies promotion, when an Incredible Hulk movie is coming out. It's that brand awareness factor. If you already eat Twinkies, now all of a sudden the Hulk is on it, and that puts the Hulk in your mind, and so maybe you go see the movie or whatever you do. I think this is just synergy. If it helps get people into the movies, great. If people already saw the movie and they go to CVS after and they see this magazine on the rack and they're about to check out and they go, "Oh shit. There's a magazine of this too," and they pick it up, great. I don't think the only negative is if it doesn't sell at all. But outside of that, this is a plus.
I
I,
mean, do we know? Like, I think it was Dan says, Superman one. So Superman is doing a similar thing as well at DC. The Superman one has articles between the stories as well about the history and stories themselves. Is this going to be have additional stuff in it, or is it just those 3 issues of comics?
So it does have additional art by Alex Ross, which shows you the origin of the Fantastic Four. It's got some behind the scenes stuff from the movie. It's got interviews with people who worked on the movie, including the issues. So this is a
Yeah, that makes
full-fledged
more sense.
magazine.
Yeah, I like that more then. It reminds me of those Disney magazines. Remember those like yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have the Uncanny X Men one in my living room. Um, it's yeah. I don't dislike that. I'm still a little iffy on the price point, but that's just a me thing.
Well, I don't think that's just a you thing.
Well, yeah, it's like, do I want lunch or do I want something I already read? Like,
Yeah.
I have no intention at all of buying this. I don't think that any of us are the target audience.
Right. Yeah. I might buy it just like to see it.
do you buy
Well,
your groceries
Marco's the
physically?
target audience.
Marco, do you get
Maybe.
your groceries delivered, or are you going out and get them?
No, we go to the H Mart or to like a Key
No,
Food.
you would be an H Mart guy.
Hell yeah, dude.
On,
They got good shit.
Oh, they're
on what
produce.
street?
What time?
There's a couple. There's a couple different locations.
Okay, which one?
Well, there's 3 all along Northern Boulevard, so you'll have to guess.
Are how much further do you want to dox yourself?
Maybe I told them the wrong location.
Jesus
You didn't.
Christ. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's the news portion of the show. However, we've still got a couple of fun things to do before we close out the day, and I wanna try something. I want to try something. Now, I want to play the Reddit game, but I also really, really want Marco and Kale to do that read of Catherine's fan fiction.
Both.
Both for sure. There's no doubt about both. My problem is the audience because there's a third thing we got to do, which is I need to read an origin. And what I want is for all of you to understand that we are about to have so much fucking fun on the other side of this origin. So what I'm telling you is that you need to stick around because we are about to have a blast. You have not heard, there has never been a live read of fan fiction on this podcast before. So I can't even imagine how funny that's going to be, but you have to stick around to hear it. So here we go. All right, I'm going to read off the remaining patrons who must be shouted out, and I'm going to read a new origin. So stick around. Don't even think about going anywhere. We're going to have some fun. Thank you to Steve, Swarm, Canaris, Panda v Panda, Ted Wong, Blur, Jekyll, Jose, Scripture, The Wardens of the Word, Amin, The Almighty Perez, Houston, The Century Kid Murphy, Peter, Living Lightning Electrics, Lucas Hallner, Faye Fighter, DeWoody, Shalom, Paladin, Warburg, Emily, The Mighty, McManus. I also have to shout out Chris Coleman, Owl Shogunate, Jack Cloutier. Thank you all so much for your support of what we do here. Really, really appreciate it. Oh, and how could I forget? Cosmic November. Thank you so much. But now I am to present to you the origin for Entertain Me. And I will tell you guys right now, this is a little bit longer. I did a read on my own to see how long it would take. And it's not terrible, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. I had a ton of fun writing this. Here we go. Charlie awoke with a jolt and surveyed his surroundings. He was in a dark, dank room lit only by torchlight. He attempted to reach up to nurse his aching head, but his arm wouldn't bulge. He was chained to the wall he sat against. The worst part, he had no idea how he'd gotten here. His last memory was of walking home from work. Nothing out of the ordinary. He identify yourself! A distorted, robotic voice blared into the room. Charlie couldn't identify where the voice was coming from, but he was certain he was alone in his cell. What? What is this? Where am Identify yourself or suffer the consequence. The booming voice pressed against Charlie's eardrums. He had no interest in finding out what they meant by consequences. My name is Charlie. Charlie Adler. Silence. Charlie waited anxiously for a reply. He heard a loud clicking sound, then felt his shackles drop from his wrists. The door to his cell opened almost begrudgingly. Charlie stared into the black abyss that the door had concealed. Now, for the first time, he considered that his life might be moments away from ending. And why? He could die any second now and had no idea why. Grab the torch! Exit the room! Charlie considered the command, and it very much was one. He'd never heard a more authoritative, powerful voice. It reminded him of Oz. While he didn't exactly love his current dwelling, he much preferred it to the perpetual blackness he saw outside. Trembling, Charlie got up onto his feet, walked over to the porch, and hesitantly grabbed it. It came off its holster in the wall quite easily. If you survive the dungeon, you will be given a chance to save your life. Beware! There are dangers lurking in the darkness. With those last words of encouragement in his mind, Charlie was sure he had no choice but to face the dungeon. Armed with the torch, he did as he was told and left the relative safety of his cell behind, treading into the abyss. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's game is on. Does our Charlie have a snowball's chance of making it out of the dungeon alive? I don't want to influence the betting, but I must say, my latest toys are the most diabolical yet. The stuff of nightmares. Charlie had been wandering in the labyrinthine dungeon for what felt like hours. He heard loud, heavy footsteps that always sounded just behind him, but when he swung around and pointed the torch forward, he saw nothing each time. Now he heard an ear-splitting mechanical roar. It seemed to bounce off the walls, piercing through him with each bounce. Every part of Charlie wanted to fall to his knees and protect his ears with his hands, but he trudged on, holding his left hand to his ear, grimacing with pain. Charlie turned a corner to his right and saw the most horrifying thing he had ever seen. His torch was only enough to light its face, but nothing could have prepared him for the sight. Massive red eyes and a mouth full of huge, razor-like teeth. It towered over him, and upon seeing him, let out a bellow and reached its tree-trunk arms out toward him. Holy shit! What the fuck? Charlie took off like a rocket in the other direction, running harder than he'd ever run, as he'd never run for his life before. Shockingly, for the first time since he woke up, he saw light, not emitting from his torch or the beast's eyes. Still being chased, he hurried in the direction of the light, allowing hope to worm its way into his heart that an end to his nightmare lay on the other side of the light. The beast gained on him, and realizing there was a chance he might not even make it to his salvation, he reached deep into himself and found a burst of speed that pushed him into the light. As he thrust himself through, he turned to see that a door was lowering behind him. For a moment, he got a glimpse of his pursuer. Horrifying as it was, that was not a thing made of flesh. What was this place? When the door fully closed, Charlie turned to observe the room. It was massive and completely unlike the dungeon he had just escaped. It was nearly all white and lined with rows of elevated pods with black tinted glass on them, allowing the occupants to watch the proceedings safely and anonymously. High above them was a massive screen, and he was the current feature on the television. I must say, entertainer, your new toy hasn't exactly left me in awe. The voice of a woman came through from one of the pods. You promised us mayhem worth paying to see. This is not entertainment. Silence! The booming voice returned, but accompanying it was a streak of blue lightning that crackled across the room, striking the pod and causing it to collapse on the floor, landing with a loud thud. Just then, a part of the wall to Charlie's left rose, and in walked a massive mechanical nightmare. It had to be the same thing that haunted him before. He would know those teeth anywhere. It looked like an animatronic. It stalked its way over to the pod. Let this be a lesson to you all. I am not the entertainer. I am not here to amuse you. I am here to satisfy my own dark proclivities. I am not the entertainer. I am to be entertained. In the middle of the room, a section of the floor began to rise. Charlie heard the screams of horror as the woman in the pod was ripped to shreds by the enormous animatronic. There is only one thing you must do in order to survive this, Charlie. Charlie watched as a man sitting in a chair rose up from the floor. A perfectly normal looking suited man eagerly sat in his seat. The animatronic walked over to stand by this man, blood all over its huge teeth and claws. All you have to do, the man leaned in, is entertain me.
Fucking hell.
Thank you, Entertain Me, for joining the
Ooh.
Palsverse.
What a walk.
You like that one, huh?
You know what? That last line, that was killer.
He said the thing. Charlie Adler, the artist of Walking Dead.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Hmm.
I just happen to really like his name. I think it's cool as shit.
Fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, huh?
Massive fan, yeah.
Oh, the buzz on that second movie is pretty good so far, I hear.
Sounds like a evil, demented arcade. I dig it.
Sean, there's a part of me that knows there's a Five Nights at Freddy's Horror House coming to Universal this year, and potentially a Gaga Tiki Bar. I might need to make a trek.
Gaga Tiki Bar?
Dude, why? You're right. It's the rumor right now. That's like unfair that they're doing that.
To you.
Thank you guys for sticking around. If you enjoyed that and you would like an origin of your own, then the only way to get one is to join the Patreon. Patreon.com/comicspals. Join the Palsverse or Palsverse Legend tier. Will get you an origin. Entertain Me. Your name inspired that purely. Thank you for being a part of this. And I really appreciate you, dude. Appreciate the kind words as well in the chat. I'm glad that you guys liked it. Now, let's jump in to I think we'll start with the Reddit game, and we'll let Marco and Kale close it out with the read.
Climax. Yeah.
That's fairly appropriate. For those of you who haven't heard this before, what I do is I go to Reddit, because this is all the rage these days on Reddit is for Marvel and DC, top X amount of heroes or villains. They've just been making these lists like crazy. And so, ever the stalker of a good bit trying to find something fun to do here, I have taken to checking these out and presenting them to the rest of the pals, letting them guess the order of the, in this case, top 30 DC heroes. Here are the rules. And I'm introducing a new rule. We're doing something different this time. I'm introducing an eliminator round. And what that means is at the very start, each one of you will get one name to throw out there. I will tell you if that person is on the list or not. That way, you can eliminate some people from your mind. Each of you gets one name that you get to throw out there. After that, when we're into the numbers, I will give you the number. You each give a guess. If someone guesses correctly, they get 2 points. After that, I give a hint. Then it's 1 point after until we get through all 30.
30, you said.
Yeah.
Any points for the eliminator round if we get one?
No.
Okay.
All right. If you guys are ready, we'll jump into it. Whoever's ready, kick it off with the eliminator round.
Firestorm.
Firestorm is not on the list.
Interesting.
These are heroes specifically, right?
Heroes,
Yeah.
yes.
Booster Gold.
Booster Gold is on the list.
Oh, you're not telling us where. Okay.
No.
Animal Man.
Animal Man is not it's not on this list.
My other question was how many flashes? But actually that is a good question. It's per character, not per title.
It is per character. Yes. It is definitely per character.
Hmm.
So whoever's ready to kick us off with guesses, feel free.
I'll go out on a limb. Swamp
Shoot.
Thing.
Nope. You are ice cold.
Can you tell us who 31 is?
There is no 31.
Oh, it's just okay, we're doing the full list. Okay. Jason Todd.
No. Ice cold.
Hawkman.
No. Ice cold. This person is humanoid, human appearance, but not from Earth.
Martian Manhunter.
No. Ice cold.
God, my DC. Oh man, if there's Legion characters on this, I'm fucked.
There's no way there's Legion characters on this.
Not from Earth, humanoid.
Mr. Miracle.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
That's a point for Marco. Great job, dude. That's number 30. Who's number 29?
Big Barda.
Nope. Ice cold.
Had to take the guess.
Worth a
He
shot.
just laughed.
Blue Beetle.
No,
That's a
ice
good
cold.
one.
Oh, I owe a guess.
No. Wait, I have to go.
Marco's
Okay,
turn.
sorry.
Yeah.
Starfire.
No, but you're burning up. You're
It's-
burning up.
Can I?
I have to give a guess.
Okay.
She is a part of a very popular DC team.
It's Raven.
Raven.
Oof. You both said that at the exact same time.
No,
heard-
bullshit.
I
I
heard that.
snuck in there, got it first.
Give it to Kale. He's leaving. Wait, no, give it to me. I matter more now.
Yeah, I don't want your fucking pity point.
To my ear, I heard it from you both at the same time. I'm
also
inclined
did.
to give it to you both.
Sure. Want to give us a 0.5 each? Split it?
No, I don't want to do that fucking math down the road. That's 28. Who's 27?
No, it's 29.
I'm sorry, 29. Yes. Wow. How'd I fuck that up already?
I'm going to go with Batwoman.
No. Ice cold.
Constantine.
Ice cold.
Hawk Girl.
No. Ice cold. This character has. Wow. This character has multiple. That's a bad guess. That's a bad hint. This character very recently had a miniseries, and a big part of it was his son.
Plastic Man.
Yep.
Good job.
Yep.
Damn, I was gonna do
Fucking
Green
Loogie.
Lantern, Alan Scott, but he has two kids.
Who's number 27?
That's Swamp Thing.
That is not. And you would be ice cold,
Damn
my
it.
friend.
Damn it.
Booster Gold.
No, it is not. I would say you're cold, yeah.
I gotta stop going
Nightwing.
first. Oh. Okay.
Oh, come on.
It's not Nightwing. You're cold. This character is this character is this character had a movie in the prior DC universe, one of the last ones.
Blue Beetle.
Yep.
Ah,
If Kale said Booster Gold, he could have said Blue Beetle was warm.
yeah, that's warm.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
That's fucking burning hot.
Yeah.
that's my fault. That's my fault. You're right. Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah, my bad. Who's 26?
Wildcat.
Marco, hate to
Wait
break
Wait a
it.
second. Wait a
I
second. Hold on.
wish Wildcat was that high.
Hold on. I uh
Oh, you didn't specify which Blue Beetle.
yeah. Yeah. It's should I make you specify?
It's Jamie
Uh,
Reyes. If
there-
you said it was the movie.
Yeah. It's Jaime Reyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jaime Reyes.
Is Ted
Is
Cord on the
Ted-
top 30?
Is Ted higher?
I can only tell you that Jaime Reyes is 27.
Wow.
But there are no.
Okay.
So Ted is on the list.
I can only say
Wow.
that
Okay.
Jaime Reyes is 27.
But I thought we said there was only one of each.
No, he said that.
No,
it's
I didn't
not.
say that.
No. This is going to be a lot of Robins. There's going to be a lot of Flashes on this list.
Shit.
Yeah.
So with
Shazam.
that, no, ice cold.
Except it's Mr. Mind.
Heroes, Kale. Did I go already?
No,
Damian Wayne.
Ice cold.
I forgot who I said.
Wildcat. That's what you
Oh,
said.
that's right. Yeah.
This character is a legacy character who has another character under him that is on this list.
Is this Ted Cord?
Yep. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. The score as it stands is Tyler 3, Kale 2, Marco 1.
And I'm winning
actually has gotta
purely
be
on
Booster Gold.
gamification. Yeah.
Who's number 25?
Booster.
No, ice cold.
This is going to be Kyle Rayner.
It is not ice cold.
Cyborg.
It is not Cyborg, ice cold.
Not a bad guess.
This person's power set involves magic.
Zatanna.
No,
This is Dr.
but
Fate.
you're obviously warm. No.
Constantine?
Yep.
Damn it. Okay.
Yep. Constantine was number 25. Who is
Wow.
number 24?
Swamp Thing.
No. Ice cold.
Should have used Swamp Thing in the burn around.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Damn, who did I ask for in the burnaround that is on this list?
I
I said
don't
I said
remember.
Booster Gold. I said Booster Gold.
You
Okay.
did, yeah.
Is this Booster Gold?
It is not Booster Gold. And I would say you are ice cold.
Wait, the Kale go?
Oh, no.
Tyler, we just got a message that the sound is messed up. Are you guys
Where do you see that?
In the YouTube chat.
It says Parker Luck, but
Matt Bird.
Is anybody else experiencing that?
It's showing a sound on my end.
Might
I hear us.
refresh.
I
Parker.
can hear myself too. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a personal deal there, Parker.
It's Parker Luck.
Matt Bird.
Mr. Terrific.
No, ice cold. This character has a love connection to another character that's a tale as old as time.
Hawk Girl.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep. Marco has 2 points now. So Hawkgirl was number 17, or excuse me, number 24. Who's 23?
Red Tornado.
No. Cold. Yeah.
That's a Red Tornado is a good one for the eliminator round because I don't think he's above.
No way.
No, I don't think so.
I think unfortunately a lot of the JSA members might not make this list. Or that era of characters. Swamp Thing.
No. Ice cold.
I just want to get Swamp Thing before Marco. That's all I care.
That would rule. We do have a show, Marco. Let's.
I'm trying to like
Wow.
who Hawkman.
No. Ice cold. Kale, did you guess?
Yeah.
Okay. This character there's more than one, I'm pretty sure, more than one person with this character's identity running around right now. I think that's true. Sorry, DC is not my strongest suit. I'll give a better hint. This person very, very recently was a part of a miniseries with multiple other characters.
Is this the question?
No. But
Dr.
there's
Fate.
no. Ice cold, both.
Fire?
No. Ice
Ooh,
cold.
good guess. No way she's on this list.
Yeah,
but
no,
good
sorry.
guess.
This character's name was a part of the title of this book, but it references more than one character. The title of the book references more than one character.
It was
Don
a,
Kent.
It,
No. Ice
it
cold.
was a mini, you said?
It was a mini. Very recently wrapped, yes.
Captain Atom?
You're on fire.
It's
Shit.
the Atom, and it's Ray
Yeah.
Palmer.
Oh, fuck.
To be fair, I don't know which Adam it is because it doesn't specify. But the
Wow,
Adam
that's
is the
rude. You should specify Ryan Choi or Ray Atom or
Yeah, there
Ray
too.
Palmer.
Yeah.
They're not if they're specifying, assumedly Robins and Green Lanterns and Flashes. They should specify Adams as well.
That was why I said I wasn't. I thought there were more than one running
Yeah,
around,
you're
but I
right.
wasn't
There
positive.
are, technically.
So the Adam was number 23, number 23. Who's 22?
Well, 22 is Swamp Thing.
It is not, and I would say you're ice cold.
Fuck.
Hawkman.
No, sir, ice cold. You're cold. You're not ice cold.
Sandman.
No, ice cold.
Marco, we're in the top 20 right now? What are we?
He's a classic
Th-
villain.
this will
Huh?
be
I mean, classic
22nd.
hero.
22nd?
And my hint is that this character comes from the stars. They are an alien. They do not have a human skin tone.
Starfire.
Yep.
Ooh, good shit.
Wow, good
Nice.
stuff.
I think you're going to say human genitalia. I don't know why.
I don't know nothing about nobody genitalia at DC but Batman. And that's because they put that whole bat dong
Like,
It's
yeah.
true.
on Front
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, Starfire would have alien genitalia.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know what it looked like.
She's alien. Dick Grayson knows what it looks like.
He sure does.
Yo,
So she was 22. Who's 21?
Swamp
21.
Thing.
Not Swamp Thing, Ice Cold.
You're not gonna get it, Marco.
Donna Troy.
Not Donna Troy, Ice Cold.
Ice Cold. Guy Gardner.
Not Guy Gardner, Ice Cold. This character is in a very interesting place in the DC universe right now.
It's Booster Gold.
Sure is.
Wow.
Sure is.
God,
And
can we
here-
get a score check?
I was just about to give you one. The score update is Tyler leading things with 5, Kale right behind at 4, and Marco trailing with 2.
Ah,
And we're inching closer to that nitty gritty because Booster Gold was number 21, but who's number 20?
Number 20 is Zatanna.
It is not Zatanna.
You want to reread that? Is it
Sorry?
Zatanna now?
update.
Read it backwards.
Yeah.
It is
Swamp
not.
Thing.
It is not Swamp Thing either, and both of those guesses are Ice Cold.
It'd be so funny if
Green-
Swamp Thing's not on the list.
Green
be?
Arrow.
It is not Green Arrow. You are Ice Cold. This character is Earth-born, but space-bound.
Oh, this is Guy Gardner.
This is not Guy Gardner.
Fuck.
You
Adam
are
Strange.
burning up.
Ah, shit.
It is not Adam Strange.
Kyle Rayner.
It is not Kyle Rayner.
It's
You
Jon
are
Stewart.
on fire. It is Jon Stewart.
Damn. I was gonna say Hal
I
Jordan.
can't believe
anyways,
he's
though.
not higher.
I
Right?
know.
Which is, I feel like Jon Stewart's number 2 Green Lantern. So that might be the only other Green Lantern on this list.
You don't think Guy?
No, Kyle was very, very
Kyle
popular
was
at this time.
very popular, yeah. So I don't know.
Very popular.
I don't know what the Reddit community thinks. They might. Be,
I think Kyle will be high.
yeah, we know number 1 Sideways, so we'll get there when we get there. But
Of course.
All right. So, Jon Stewart was number 20. Who's 19?
Kyle
Swamp Thing.
Rayner.
Ice Cold, Ice Cold.
ooh, I got to actually think about this now. Black Canary.
No, Ice Cold. This character, very recently in one of the final DC films of the prior regime, had a fairly big role in one of those movies.
This is Dr. Fate.
This is not Dr. Fate, but you're burning.
It's Henry Cavill.
Shazam.
It is not Shazam. Cold.
Who else was on that team? Hawkman?
Yes, it is Hawkman.
He said Hawk Girl. That's what it was. Damn it. He was cool in that movie too.
Yeah, he was.
He was sick as shit. So Hawkman was number 19. Who's number 18?
This is Swamp Thing.
It is not. You're Ice Cold.
Fuck.
Martian Manhunter.
No, you're Ice Cold.
Kale.
Who's the last one?
The
Hawkman.
last one was Hawkman, yeah.
Hawkman. Name a DC superhero.
Alan Scott.
It is not Alan Scott.
No way.
Hey,
However,
get out of here. You've read 3 comic books ever. Don't.
but you're on fire.
Oh, this one's Kyle Rayner.
It is not, and I have to give my hint. This I guys, I need a doctor. I need a doctor. You can't guess, Tyler.
Is those hemorrhoids flaring up again, Sean?
It's an ongoing issue.
Yeah, I get it. Stress.
Is that part of the hint?
Jessica
Not in my
Cruz?
case. It is not Jessica Cruz. You are ice cold.
I love how Marco goes the other direction. He's like, oh,
It's gotta-
we already checked off one of the most popular Green Lanterns. Let's go to the least popular one.
It's got to be Dr. Fate.
It absolutely is Dr. Fate.
Okay.
Notably, so the scale, Kale and Tyler are tied at 6. Marco's still with 2. Notably, no one has gotten 2 points at once yet. No one has gotten it right before a guess, or before a hit, rather.
It's going to be tough. Tough on this one.
Dr. Fate was number 18. That's Kent Nelson. Who is number 17?
Ooh, I have 17 on my list right now, and they haven't been touched yet. So I think I have most of these. It's Swamp Thing.
No, Ice Cold.
Cyborg.
It sure is.
No way.
He's on
Sure
my list.
is.
Yep.
That was
Wow.
a good guess.
Nice. Kale jumping up ahead with 8 points now. Great
Wow.
guess. Cyborg number 17. Who's going to be number 16?
Number 16 is Black Canary.
It is not, my friend. You are ice cold.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just double checking.
Green Arrow.
No, sir. Ice cold.
Just this 17, right?
This is 16 now.
16. This is
Dancing.
Static Shock.
Oh, wow. You're going for some strange ones there.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Ice cold, my friend. This character is a wow. Oh my goodness. This character is
Apparently not that popular.
the guardian of
Oh,
a particular part of the earth.
this is Swamp Thing.
It sure is.
Whoa.
Eat dicks, Marco.
Dude, I
Fuck.
couldn't fucking believe that none of you said Swamp Thing.
Fuck.
The one time.
And I had it in my head. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go something wild.
On your head, he's on your fucking shirt.
Yeah. Incredible.
I can't believe Tyler called his shot too. He said, I'm gonna guess Swamp Thing before you. I'm gonna get it when it's Swamp
Yeah.
Thing. And he did.
Fuck.
Swamp Thing's number 16. Who's number 15?
Green
Wildcat.
Arrow.
No, ice cold on both.
Zatanna.
No, ice cold.
Fuck.
Yeah. Ice cold. Yeah. Cold.
Thought about it.
This character has had more than one movie in the prior DC regime.
Say that again, sorry.
This character has had more than one movie come out in the
Shazam.
prior. Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Shazam.
I was going to say Aquaman.
So Shazam's number 15. Who's 14?
14. Ooh.
No, ice cold. Tyler?
Ooh, Aquaman wasn't on my list. God damn. There are going to be some notable omissions from this list then. This is Green Arrow.
It is not. Cold.
This is 14?
14.
This is Guy Gardner.
It is not. Ice cold. There have been multiple people with one of this character's identities, but one of one for their other identity, secret identity.
Dick Grayson.
No,
Damn.
but you're on fire.
Oh.
This is Red Robin.
No, but you're on fire.
Fuck. Being Tim Drake is what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Because there's only been one Red Robin, but multiple Robins.
Red Hood.
No, but you guys are all in the ballpark.
Is it?
I have to give another hint. This character is Hmm. Wow. Maybe DC's most popular hero to never have a movie with
Batgirl.
their name in it. Yep.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Oracle is probably what you're
As,
thinking
soo-
of.
as soon as I said Red Hood, it clicked in my mind. I
He
went,
might not be on
Batgirl,
this list.
stupid.
So Barbara Gordon, Batgirl's number 14. Who's 13? We're getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, we are. There's a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Damien?
No.
No, I don't think he's on the list anymore. I think he might be
No,
dropping off my
I don't
list.
either.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Martian Manhunter.
No. Ice Cold.
Black Canary.
No. Ice Cold. This person is not the first, not the last. Some people would say the greatest.
Oh, this is Hal Jordan.
No.
Fuck.
You are warm, I guess.
This is Wally West.
Yeah, it is Wally West.
Ah,
Yep,
good job.
That's where I was going to go next.
Nice. I gotta say,
Honestly-
Kale is
Not, assumedly Barry's above Wally. This list is shit. So,
Kale is sweeping right now at 10. Tyler at 7. Marco lagging with 3. So Marco's gonna have to do some work
Big
in
old
order to
guesses.
keep up.
Marco can get the
Chat.
Swamp Thing one. Wait a minute.
Chat, how we feeling? Who's gonna be number 1? Who's gonna be number 1?
Number 1.
Talk that shit, chat. I see all
Number one.
the names in the chat you guys are throwing out there. Love it.
Babs. Wow, Babs was in a movie. She was in. Well, she's been in a couple movies. She was in Batman and Robin.
Not
Uh,
DCEU, though.
Not titular, I guess.
My hint was that she didn't have a movie of her own.
Correct. Yeah, I'm with you. And she was in. I believe she was in.
Batman and Robin.
No,
Right.
I said that. The second Nolan one, Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
No.
She's a
there-
kid, wasn't she?
Oh,
I think it was her brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was James Gordon Jr.
So, that was who was that? That was Wally West at number 13. Who's number 12?
Wally's at 13.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, this is getting tough. This one is Aquaman.
No, Ice Cold.
Nightwing.
It is not Nightwing, my friend. Ice Cold.
Then it is Beast Boy.
It is not Beast Boy. Ice Cold. This character actually has had a movie unto themselves. Very obscure, very far in the past, but also one in the future.
This is Supergirl.
Sure is. Sure is Supergirl.
That obscure.
Oh, I thought it was obscure. I don't know. I've never seen that shit.
I like how Dan and Uncanny Suit are just throwing in the worst options. Bawana Beast and the Black Pirate. Come on, guys.
Who the fuck is Bawana Beast?
Oh,
you don't know
Bawana
Beast,
Beast.
dude?
Come on,
They
man.
gave him a new name. He has a new name now because I guess that one was too insensitive. But Bawana Beast is great. He's like the Aquaman of land.
Well, no, doesn't he combine animals?
Yeah,
together?
but like he could like take. He's like the dude Vixen. I guess that's probably a better.
Okay.
way of
yeah.
doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Supergirl at number 12. Who's number 11? This is a shocker.
Was that a hint?
Maybe not.
I was thinking, was that?
That's just me talking too much.
This is Zatanna.
You're right.
Whoa.
You are absolutely right.
I know fans love Zatanna, and I knew she would be high up on this list.
Yeah.
Tyler tied it up 10-10 with Marco at 3.
Fuck.
You can do it, Marco. You just got to get
All of
all
them.
of them.
Zatanna at 11. Who's 10?
Martian
Green Arrow.
Manhunter.
No, Uh, uh, Green Arrow is red hot.
Oh, it's Black Canary.
It sure is.
Ah,
Thanks, Cal.
Tyler at 12. Holy shit.
I'll
We
go.
got a
I'll go
game.
first. I'll go first for this one then, just to make it possibly easier for everyone else.
I don't like this.
This is
Black Canary at 10. Who's 9?
this is Martian Manhunter.
It is not. You are ice cold.
It's ice cold if they're all Justice League members going forward.
I don't know. Aquaman.
nah.
No, cold.
Who the hell is not a fucking Justice Leaguer at this point?
Who said they weren't a Justice Leaguer?
I'm just saying that's not a you can't say that's warm at this point because
I
pretty
think
much
from
everyone
13
here.
they've all been Justice Leaguers.
Yeah. Shit. What did you say, Kale? It's Aquaman, right?
Aquaman and Martian Manhunter are not the answer.
Fuck.
Marco's reaction is, fuck.
Those are exactly the ones I was thinking about.
Come on, bro.
And at this point, we should just not do hints.
Orion.
Come on,
No.
dude.
No.
You, Marco.
You're frozen.
I can't think.
We know that.
Come on, smack it up. Wake it up. Come on.
My hint is that this character is is that true? No. A riches to rags to riches story.
Green Arrow.
Yep.
Okay. I
Marco with
thought your
4.
hint was going to be this person is a Justice League member.
Imagine. Not that big of a dick. Who's number 8?
Aquaman.
No, ice cold.
I feel like I'm in like a Mexican standoff with Kale right now.
Yeah. Kyle Rayner.
No, ice cold. Yeah.
This is Superboy.
No way.
No, you are cool.
Oh, thanks. First time I've been told this.
This character is not from Earth and doesn't look like a human, but sometimes.
Oh, this is
Martian Manhunter.
Give it to Marco.
The pity points. I'll take the pity points. I'm not above it.
I didn't hear Tyler. I heard Tyler's ramp up, but I heard
Yeah.
Marco say Martian Manhunter.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna go with Marco. Who is number 7?
That would be Green Lantern. Hal
You have to
Jordan.
be more. No, and you're ice cold.
Okay, well, it's not a Green Lantern. Jeez.
Did you say Hal Jordan?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's ice cold, so you can. If you want to
Yeah.
say another Green Lantern, feel free.
Wonder Woman.
Ooh,
No,
Good guess.
controversial.
no, but you're pretty warm, I would say.
Oh, okay. I know it.
Aquaman.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're absolutely right.
is that with no hints?
Yeah,
It
you got
was.
you're at
Well, I
7.
mean, you got
Kale's at
warm.
10. Tyler's at 12.
Man, Black Canary's not on this list, huh? Jeez.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, we said.
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
said
said
it.
Black
That was-
Canary.
We
That was
did?
10.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I was scared. I thought I fucked up. Okay, so Aquaman was 7. Who's 6?
That one is Hal Jordan, Green Lantern.
No.
Fuck.
You are ice cold.
That one is. Hawk Girl.
We said Hawk Girl
We were guessing
already.
Hawker, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, you're right.
Barry Allen.
No. Ice cold. There are a lot of this character,
This is
but he's one of one.
This is Robin, and this is Dick Grayson specifically.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
That's a good guess.
They list him as Robin instead of Nightwing instead, huh? I guess, yeah, Robin's more... It's Robin.
He's listed as both.
Okay.
So I would have accepted any of that. Dick Grayson, Nightwing, is number 6. Who's number 5?
Hal.
Ooh, no, it's not Hal. You are pretty warm, I think.
Oh, this is Barry Allen.
Yeah.
Whoa, with the pivot. Oh, I didn't think you were gonna go there.
Holy shit. Tyler is cooking with gas.
Smoke.
15
I have them all
points.
now. It's just placing.
Kale at 10, Marco at 7. Tyler metagaming this shit.
This can I just throw it out there for 4?
I think someone else should go because you clearly have a very.
Fuck.
Who's number 4?
Wonder Woman. Damn.
We're so close to the end.
You got it, Bookie.
Tyler Rayner.
Nah,
It's Hal Jordan.
you are smoking hot. It's
Why
Hal
would
Jordan.
you say? Why would you say Kyle?
Got lost. I don't know. I can't do the best I can over here.
I flipped.
I got the sick brain, bro.
The
He's on
only
delay.
wa-
Yeah.
Marco's eliminated from being able to win. The
No,
only
I have
way for
faith.
Kale, no, I don't. The only way for Kale to win is to get all of these right with no hints. So who is number 3?
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Got it. Wonder Woman is indeed
Yep.
number 3. That puts Kale at 12.
Number 2 is Superman.
I think number 2 is Batman, actually.
So number 2 is not Superman.
Oh.
Number 2 is in fact Batman.
Oh, so number 1 is
Yeah.
Superman.
Number 1 is Superman.
Wow. See, I knew it was going to be one way or the other.
Wow. I cannot believe this outcome. I am completely shocked. I thought Kale was going out with a W. Tyler wins with 19, Kale at 14, and Marco with 7.
Oh, almost got there.
Listen, I'm telling you, this game is just I know you see me flounder while we play this game. I just there's no ballpark here.
Do you think it
It's
would be
just-
easier the other way around? Like knocking the big ones off at the top. And
That
then
would probably
getting
be
more
easier.
obscure.
Yeah. The way it's actually voted on is like that. It's voted on from number 1 on. But I don't think that's as interesting. I think it's interesting the other way, flipped. But there you have it.
Wow.
Those are the greatest DC heroes of all time, according to Reddit. Congratulations to Tyler on the victory.
Only one Robin in that whole list on the top 30?
Wild.
It's the one that matters.
I would have put Tim in my top 30, possibly. No
Listen, I'm with you.
Superboy.
There-
No Connor
no
Kent,
way.
really?
No.
It's kind of tough though. I mean, there were some questionable ones to me, like Plastic Man. I was surprised by.
I agree. I think Plastic Man's more meme and myth than
I think with a lot of these characters, and I think Nightwing included, I think you've got longevity on their side too.
Yeah, that's the biggest factor I
Yep.
think for a lot of these is like they've
Plastic
been in
Man
the
is as old as
trenches.
Batman.
Yeah, yeah, and I think to some degree DC readers are a little bit more entrenched in that fact of like these are the old guard and we love them.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow. Jesse says I'm gonna let y'all finish, but Wonder Woman is in fact the greatest hero of all time. Not according to Reddit, my brother. How'd you guys enjoy that? Let us know. I want to know if you guys want us to do the Marvel side of this.
Oh,
Oh God. Dude, I'm not gonna be able to play until like at least the top 10.
Marco's going to start saying Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
No, Dan, the show is not quite over. We are not saying goodbye to Kale just yet because there's one last thing to do. One last. And that is something that we have been talking about for a couple of months, but on Kale's last appearance as a core member of the show, we are finally going to deliver on Marco and Kale's rendition, their live read of Catherine's Kale and Marco based Meet Cute fan fiction. At your will, gentlemen.
All right, Kale, the sooner you get your work done, the sooner you can get back home. Oh, who's doing the narration?
Oh shit, there's a narration. I will do
Should Tyler do the narration, given that you do the Pals universe stuff?
Sure,
This is fan fiction.
I'll do the fan fiction. Where,
This is the
where's
silly
this link?
stuff.
It's in the chat.
Okay, I was going to listen to it blind. But yeah, I'll do this. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Okay.
And then you let us know, and then from the top, from 1.
So it's not. Who's the one talking in the first?
Me.
Kale.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'll do
I'm
the narration then.
the young writer.
Oh, you already read it. Okay. The young. Sorry, my PDF application said I need to pay for it. Okay. The young writer said to himself, setting his laptop on the worn wooden surface of the library table. He pushed his glasses up before opening up the computer and rearranging his things around him to make him look as unwelcoming as possible. Perhaps if he kept his eyes locked on the Word document in front of him, it would almost be like he's home and just has the TV on for background noise. Except the people on the TV wouldn't walk up to him and invade his space without invitation.
Damn, you're reading City of Celestials? That's pretty fire. I liked it a lot. I just returned the next in the series if you're looking to get that one too while you're here.
Kale looked up from his computer screen to see a young man with dark hair and glasses smiling from across the table from him and pointing at his volume of The City of the Celestials. Sure, the man was cute and had a great smile, but why interrupt? He thought he made it very clear with his laptop and barricade of books and bags that he was not looking for any company. The deadline for his script was drawing near, and he didn't have nearly enough written for the amount of time he's had to work on it. Stupid internet in his cheap apartment had to give out yet again, forcing him to trek across the city to use the library. In fairness, he debated going to sit in the corner of a coffee shop, but thought he might as well check out a few different books while he had to brave being around people. 2 birds, 1 shitty internet connection.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Kale answered curtly, looking back to his laptop.
Have you read anything else by him? If you haven't read Future Fire and you like this, I highly recommend it.
Kale felt the irritation in him growing. But he pursed his lips and glanced back at the other man over the top of his laptop screen. Damn his stupid smile.
I'll have to check it out sometime.
Man, if you're really into comics though and you haven't read it yet, maybe I recommend Man of the Wilds. It's definitely top tier.
Now Kale was outraged. Not only was this man cutting into his work time, but he had terrible taste in comics.
Listen, man, if you think Man of the Wilds is top tier, I'm not sure I should really be taking any recommendations from you.
Oh, for real? I don't know. I figured it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, if you're really into stupid people and poorly written dialogue.
Well, I'm pretty into you so far, and I don't think you're stupid, but at least not from what I can tell. You've got some pretty thick books there. Must be a smart guy.
Oh boy, it wasn't often Kale was left speechless, but this man was smooth. If this was his intention all along, not only was he annoyed that this guy was able to distract him from his work, but that he couldn't deny that he was fairly charmed. The forwardness of his comment left him with raised eyebrows and shaking his head, almost as if he were shaking words around to find something to say in response. All Kale could manage for a moment was to let out an awkward laugh before he spoke again.
Well, I'm flattered. Thanks. But I am busy right now. I've got a deadline and I really need to focus.
No worries. Maybe you're down to school me on what you consider good comics late tonight or this weekend?
Again, Kale stared at the man in front of him in disbelief. It wasn't that he hadn't been hit on before, but he hasn't ever met someone so incredibly forward and confident like this before. Certainly not one that he actually might like.
You know what? If it gets you to leave me alone, sure.
The day went on, and though nobody else had bothered Kale for the remainder of his time at the library, his mind continued to wander back to the interaction with the man from earlier. How dare he saunter up to the table he was working at, and in a span of minutes steal Kale's attention for the rest of his workday. The message exchange that followed that afternoon was brief. Marco texted first, lighthearted and casual, suggesting a bar a few blocks from the library. Kale, after a good 5 minutes of staring at his phone like he had personally offended him, agreed. The interruption was completely unacceptable, so naturally he had to meet him for a drink later to make sure he could make something of the distraction. Clearly the man needed help finding good books to read, and Kale felt that if he could steer him in the right direction, then at least someone was made better from this little interaction. Now sitting across from Marco at a small dimly lit booth, Kale felt oddly relaxed. Maybe it was the low light and buzz of people's conversations around them, or maybe it was the way Marco sat with his elbows on the table, leaning in and attentive to everything Kale said, even when it was just complaining about how overpriced comic books were getting.
I mean, come on, $6 for a single issue?
Kale grumbled, picking up his glass and gesturing with it.
I'm not saying we need to go back to the Stone Age or anything, but as a former starving artist, shouldn't the creators understand a budget?
Marco grinned, propping his chin up on his hand.
So what you're saying is you want to start a black market comic ring. I respect that.
Kale snorted before he could stop himself.
Yeah, that'll be my next career move. Writer slash black market comic book dealer. Has a nice ring to it.
You'd kill it.
Marco said,
especially with that
Oh.
intimidating, I'll ruin your whole workday face you do.
I don't do that.
Kale said flatly, which only made Marco laugh harder.
You totally do. It's okay though.
Marco teased.
I think it's cute.
Kale, we lost Ron. Kale fought and failed not to feel his ears heat up. His eyes fell to his drink, but only for a moment before the conversation continued on. They fell into a surprisingly easy rhythm after that. Marco was the kind of person who could keep a conversation going without it feeling like work, throwing out stories about his own comic collection disasters, his habit of accidentally buying the wrong issue number, and how he once spilled an entire coffee across a limited edition cover and cried for a week.
You cried?
Kale asked, eyebrows raised in mock judgment. Marco leaned back dramatically and placed a hand over his heart.
I'm warned, Kale. There's a difference.
Kale shook his head, a reluctant smile tugging at his mouth. All right, maybe this is worth a distraction. Maybe. After a few drinks and more conversation elapsed than Kale had anticipated, it was time to part. They lingered outside the bar longer than necessary, standing under the soft glow of a street lamp, the cool air a sharp contrast to the cozy warmth inside. Kale stuffed his hands in his jacket pockets, rocking back on his heels. He hated goodbyes. They were always weird, always a little too long or a little too short. And now he was just standing there like an idiot, not knowing how to say thank you for a great date, without explicitly stating how much he enjoyed himself and exposing that perhaps, maybe, he would be open to meeting again soon. Marco didn't seem bothered, though. He shoved his hands in his pockets, too, smiling at him. That same easy, sunny smile that had no business being this disarming.
I had fun tonight.
Marco said, voice light but genuine.
Yeah.
Kale answered. A little too quickly, he cleared his throat.
I mean, yeah. Same here.
There was a beat of silence. Kale's brain screamed at him. Say something else, dummy. Don't just let him go.
I didn't think I'd have fun.
He blurted and then immediately winced smooth.
Not because of you. I'm kind of bad at this. People, dating, all of it.
Yeah, no kidding. Marco chuckled, stepping a little closer.
Well, I think you're doing fine. If you want more practice, I'm down for a second date sometime soon.
Well,
Kale felt flustered for a second, but kept his composure.
yeah, I mean, that could work. Maybe we could go out again after I hit my deadline.
I'd love to celebrate once you get that script done.
They stood there for a moment, silent once again, unsure if this was where the goodbye should go. And then, before Kale could psych himself out of it, he leaned forward, fast and awkward, and pressed a quick kiss to Marco's cheek. Or, he meant to kiss his cheek. Except Marco turned his head at the last second to look at something that had made a noise on the street, and Kale's lips brushed the corner of his mouth instead. Oh no. Kale froze, pulling back too fast, absolutely certain he looked like he was about to combust on the spot, eyes wide.
Shit. Sorry, I didn't mean.
Marco just laughed, still smiling, and reached out to touch Kale's arm.
It's all right. I'm glad you did. It had to happen at some point, right?
Kale shot him a small smile, feeling his face continue to grow hotter by the second.
I'll text you.
Marco said, and Kale could see the sincerity in his eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
He watched Marco walk away down the sidewalk, hands still stuffed in his pockets, whistling a tune Kale couldn't quite place. And for the first time that day, Kale was grateful for the shitty internet in that tiny apartment that introduced him to what would become his favorite distraction. Blind reading that was one of the most stressful things I've ever had to do on the show.
Incredible. You know, you think when you play coy and mysterious, people can't read you. Damn.
She really got your voice down.
Catherine got me down to a T.
There was a bit there that I just closed it, but there was a bit that I was like, oh, that's Kale. Hold on.
Which one?
It was where is it? Oh, where he says, "Listen, man."
Yeah. He said it exactly.
Also, Kale, you bust that quick? Damn.
Hey, listen. I may bust that quick, but I get the job done.
Hey, yo.
You gotta walk back to your tiny apartment with a bus stain on your jeans. Jeez. Yeah, we've all been there, right?
Yo, first of all, I one of the few times in my life I'm a little lost for words. I have questions for both of you. That was a little too good.
Hey, you gotta commit.
Good acting.
Still writing.
Listen,
I need to know what happened when Marco went to visit you, Kale. I feel like we might not have heard the real story.
This is what happened.
Oh my God. Catherine, amazing job. Amazing job. That what Marco and Kale and Tyler just read off was written by Catherine, a listener of the show. Because we hit 5K subscribers, she wanted to do that. Mind you, she loves doing shit like this. When we used to raid together in World of Warcraft, she did shit like
Did you do
this.
fanfic of like your characters?
Of people that we knew in the game.
Oh, not even their characters, the people behind the characters.
The actual humans.
God, that is horny as fuck. Catherine. Bonk.
You could describe her that way. But that was amazing, so well written. You captured the likeness of these guys really well, like surprisingly well.
Marco's that first line that Marco throws down on it. Oh, damn. Shit, maybe. Jay Sage says, I'm telling Mrs. Dr. Hot Dog. You think she don't know?
She'd been no. It's been 8 years.
Uh-huh.
Ted H hit us up with 5 gifted memberships. I guess he enjoyed it so much he wanted to share some love.
We got
Congrats.
Bar Lord, Critterus, Raging Sloth, Chris 2814.
And Steve Canaris.
Yeah.
Oh, did I miss that one?
Nice.
I like how Critterus gets one after talking about this smut
Yeah.
fanfic. Yeah.
Well, you guys know what happens when somebody gifts memberships on this channel. You know exactly what happens when someone gives memberships on this channel. We spin the block and we gift them right back. So I just pressed the button. Congratulations.
Felipe Diaz, Dex, Jeremy Kulo, Weeb Guru, and Matt Sager.
Awesome. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you, Ted H, for kicking off the gifted membership train. Anybody who wants to add to that is more than welcome. But we just added 10 new channel members. So that's a beautiful thing. You guys
Incredible.
are about to eat really good. You guys are about to eat real good. I promise you. You guys are about to eat amazing. Great read, guys. Too bad we never did this before. That was fun.
Man.
That's great. Great acting, Kale.
Oh, hey, Marco. Legit. You want to come down sometime? You show up
Yes.
any day.
Read a book.
I was fully torqued the whole read through. I don't know about you guys, but you know,
We could hear it in your voice.
yeah.
That was one of the funniest things that's ever happened on this show.
That's probably true.
Sean was having a great time because he didn't have to do any of it.
Hell yeah, I could just be entertained. Entertain me for once. Fuck yes. Um, well, in that, Catherine wrote about the long goodbye. And that's appropriate for this episode because this is one of the longest we've ever done. But uh, it is hard to say goodbye to your friends. And that's why I don't know that we really are saying goodbye. Yes, we are losing Kale, unfortunately, as a member of this podcast on a weekly basis, but we're not losing Kale as a member of this family. Kale's been here since day one. The foundations of what we do here actually stem back way before the Comics Pals was even a thought in any of our minds. It stems back to Kale showing the kind of man he is in multiple situations that we have talked about at length on our episode 400, where we exposed the history of the Pals. But Kale showed me that he is a man who cares about people. He showed me that he's a man who stands up for people. And he showed me that he's a man who believes in people. And those are things that I think have been evident throughout our time doing the show together. Um, I can't imagine starting this without you being involved. And I know we've had our differences, but the reality is that there is no Comics Pals without Kale. In fact, literally, the art that we have on the channel came from one of Kale's closest friends, Letty Wilson. And so the look of the show came from Kale's being a part of this. So I will miss you. I will cherish these years that we've gotten to do this together. I'm bummed out that you never got to do the backflip. But hey, man, listen, if that back ever heals up and you want to come on and make good, there's always a seat for you, brother.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Sean, for those words. Thank you for uh, leading the charge. It's been 8 years, and you have steered this ship despite us. I think what else can I say except thank you for helping a dream of mine come true. To have a podcast and to be a part of one. Marco, literally, thank you for getting this off the ground. We would have been so lost in those early days without you. Tyler, thank you. Thank you for coming in and barely asking for a seat. We invited you here and it was like you were here the whole time. Thank you for coming in and helping remind us that it's all love. Even at the hardest parts, it's we do this because we love it, and we love the stuff around it. This is tough. It's been 8 years. It's been 8 years. I've lived on 3 continents, four countries, 3 continents. I did an episode in an airport once, so I think technically that means I've done it in like the no space between countries.
International waters.
Yeah. I've seen stuff that I couldn't have seen doing this podcast. I did it at 3 a.m. once. I've seen countless sunrises because of this show. I've met people I never ever thought I would meet. That's, audience members. That's Mark Wade. That's Jeff Johns. I met people I never thought I'd dream of meeting, like Garth Ennis. um, uh, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. Um, you will hear from me again. Like Sean said, I won't be far away, but I am going to take this time to try and make stuff. It won't just be me slaving away in retail. A big part of this is that I want to make my own books and to make my own content, to make my own. I want to make films, maybe. I say content. I'm not going to make a YouTube channel. This isn't my bag.
No, you hate this content shit.
I hate it, man. So don't worry about that. Um, but thank you so much for um indulging in my love of comics and indulging in encouraging my love of comics and helping me see the beauty of the weekly release of comics, because I've always been a tradesman, as we call them around here. Um, but I will treasure this time. Um, thank you. I love you. Amen.
Thanks so much, bud.
As for, oh, wait, no, Gavin gave away 5 channel memberships.
Just another round.
Wow.
M. Nadeau,
Hey,
Tony Tornado, that's a cool ass name. Aaron Wolfsbane, Comics Embraced, and AJ Zamudo. Congrats on those, and thank you so much, Gavin. He says, one last round of memberships in honor of Kale.
Kale, did you see the art that Pete Collins posted in the
Oh no, I have not.
check that out, Aspiring Creators tab? It's awesome. That's very cool.
Holy cow.
That's crazy.
Hot dog no more. Well,
Whoa.
Wow. Good
That's the
shit,
cover art
Pete.
right there.
thank you so much, Pete.
And you know what's bugged out about
Give me
that
like
is
30
that
seconds.
that announcement was made today and no one else knew. So that means that he did that right now since we've been live.
Yep.
Super talented. Thanks, Pete. That's cool.
That's going in a frame.
Um, how to resolve this? Look, we move on. We move forward. There's going to be a Comics Pals going forward. We will be here next week. We will be here on Thursday. We will be here when you guys expect us. And as far as what's going to change, a lot. I have a lot. We have a lot of announcements to make going forward. Next Saturday, you will hear a lot about our plans for the future. I think that we're about to go into an incredible era for the show, and not incredible because Kale won't be here. In fact, in a lot of ways, I wish Kale would still be here for some of the stuff that we are going to be doing. But times of uncertainty, times of you know chaos, they can also be times of revelation. They can be times where you can find yourself, where you can find the right path. And Kale's going to find his right path, and we are too. And so this train keeps moving, and I promise you that the next year of the Comics Pals is going to be amazing, because it has to be, because I expect it, and because I think we know how to deliver that. And we've been doing this for 8 years, and we've gotten pretty decent at it. So if you enjoy this show, stay tuned. Stay tuned. A lot more to come. Tyler put the Pete Collins art on the screen, the cover he did, the Amazing Comics Pals, and it's a rendition of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, when he quits being Spider-Man. That same cover concept, but it's of Kale, and it says "Hot dog no more." I love it. 12 cents. Shit, can we get that price point back?
Yeah, for real. Oh no, that's a dollar sign.
Oh, whoops. Shit, can we get that price point back? Uh, thank you guys so much for listening. Really, really, really appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. Love you guys. Love you guys, the pals. Love the pals at home. And there's a lot to come. Thank you for sticking by us. We appreciate you so much. Have a tremendous weekend. We love you. Take care.
Keep your courage. The Comics Pals.